into Assassin by only having that bonus damage dealt to heroes.
So what I'm going to say is prefacing. I was told by my fellow podcast friends in my podcast to say this, and I'm not trying to one-up you, but I play at the Grandmaster level.
Nice.
So
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor.
What the fuck was that?
Probably.
No.
People in chat, did you just hear all that?
Yeah.
Let me know. Let us know. All right.
Oh.
Okay.
Let us know. Are we competent?
Well, we're not
Yep.
confident, that's for sure.
That is definitely a question that we should ask every episode,
Or after you have sex with someone.
so we can figure out when it happens.
Yeah. All right, and welcome to episode 87. After a little break, we're back, and none of us got the plague from BlizzCon as of yet,
No.
which is really good.
Is that confirmed? No one got
Well, not everyone, because I am a little bit sick.
Oh,
Oh, shit,
no.
never mind.
well, hopefully
Well.
it's nothing bubonic.
Yeah, as long as we're not in the same house, we're fine. I'll take that.
Mhm.
So, welcome to episode 87 of the GankBush podcast, the only explicit Heroes of the Storm podcast where all the different co-hosts represent different play levels. For example, we have someone as low as a silver type player all the way up to a grandmaster level player. We bring you the latest HOTS news and discuss the latest tips and strategies so that you can become a better player. Now let's go ahead and introduce our grandmaster level player. That is Bacon, who's calling in from
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Buford.
Buford. Yeah, I was going to say like the Beloit. Okay, Buford, Georgia. How's it going?
It's going great in Buford, Georgia, which is basically Atlanta, Georgia. So you don't have, this is only the fourth time we've talked about this. It's okay.
So-
I'm doing great.
Is Garden Grove, LA?
Yes.
No. All right, let's move
Yes,
on.
it is.
For our listeners, it might as well be.
All
Yeah.
right, let's go ahead and introduce.
We're a
Al.
podcast that spans like 8 different times as we might as well be. It's all the same shit.
You're basically the guy in Daly City who says he lives in San Francisco. That's what you are. But anyway, let's move on.
No one understand that reference. What are you
I-
talking
Only
about?
people from the Bay Area know where Daly City's at.
I understand the reference. That's all that really matters. All right, let's go ahead and introduce our silver
That's how
type
we
player,
should get yours, right?
Tara Barron, who's calling in from San Diego, California.
Hey there, friends. It's good to be in the Nexus. So, what's Byron's level?
Well, I got a gold badge. I'm assuming it's gold plated though.
I feel like it's
because
unearned, but
don't
I
really
thought
play
when
the
you,
game,
when you
so-
said you
And
said
now I
silver
got
level
gold
player.
in Team League.
so did I. But I still have a silver thing next to mine.
Yeah, but that's because you foolishly also went and played Hero League. So
Oh,
You
not
can't-
this year.
you can't prove that
That's
I
all
wouldn't
right.
have gotten
But it is
gold
it
in
is
Hero League.
Bacon vetted. I believe he's a gold level player. So,
Bacon vetted. Now
I
you're
am-
like are now.
well, I also control the stream, so you can't stop me. You
Yeah,
can't stop
sorry.
me.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
He's
from
gone
that.
bandit,
He
renegade
is a
style
Grandmaster
over there.
level player.
He is.
I am the Grandmaster player, and I don't mean to be rude, but but yeah, I mean to be rude.
All right, let's go ahead and introduce our platinum level player. That's Old Backpack, who's back in the Middle East.
Yes, it is. Yes, I am. One thing. One question for you there, Fringe.
Yes. Yeah, that's we'll talk about that later, but that's a
Ooh.
that's for-
There's a new little channel in the Discord as well to
Yes.
Yeah.
honor that.
Mhm.
Who hearts him? Do you know? I don't know.
you know, all I'll say is that I've been an expert fan for at least 8 months, and then you guys pick him up.
And where's
Okay.
your sign?
But did
Where's
you
your
get
sign?
this?
Mm.
Did you get that? Wait.
No, wait, he did shake my hand.
Wait.
Is that an actual autograph?
Yes.
It is.
Funny.
That's
Yeah.
Bad Betty's autograph.
Fucking official right there.
Damn right.
And you jinxed him
Boo.
because he got KO'd
Oh,
pretty
damn.
hard.
So how's the weather in the Middle East there, old backpack?
It's very, very warm. About
was
85
that?
in the morning.
Is it hot and dry? Because I would never have guessed that.
It's hot and dry. So didn't we're dirty, right?
All right, well, let's go ahead and introduce a special co-host. That is Byron, who's actually committing game adultery.
Yeah, I'm a
Global
philandering game adulterer now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, so that's Byron, who's calling in from somewhere in Southern California.
I'm now like some kind of like game non-conforming person or something.
Or something.
Yeah, fucking
something.
Bill Nye is gonna do like a very special episode about me. About
You know
how,
that-
like,
Oh,
gaming
sorry.
preferences exist on a spectrum or something. I don't know.
You know that Bill Nye doesn't even have a science degree.
Yeah, I've known that for years, dude.
Really?
He's a pundit.
Yeah, like he has like a degree in economics or something like that. Like
Yeah,
he's
somebody-
just as qualified as me.
Somebody called him out. Yeah, I also have an engineering degree, and yet I do not portray myself as an expert on global warming. But
Yeah.
Somebody actually called him out on that in his last AMA, and Reddit deleted it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, let's move on from that.
Mm.
All right.
Not
So
a scientist? He had that show where he had the lab coat and everything.
He's
an
as
actor.
much of a scientist as I am.
Son
He's a
of a bitch.
promoter of the scientific
Yeah.
theory, and
I science as fuck,
and he's done
right?
that very well. So let's leave the poor man alone, unless he comes out like the other Hollywood
unless
celebrities
he-
of recent.
Oh, it's kind
Then
of
we can
Charlotte.
get
Bill
on the
Nye
bandwagon.
took out his flash.
unless he comes out the way that Louis C.K. has, and by comes out I mean takes his dick out.
All right, okay, we're moving on right now. That's the end of that. All right.
Right
So,
along.
Yeah, no more.
all right. All right. So,
Leave everyone alone.
He's a national hero, guys. Come on.
all right. So today we
Louis
actually
CK.
today we actually are recording on Thursday, but usually we record on Wednesday. We had a day off because we had scheduling issues. But usually we record Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you listen to us on iTunes or Stitcher, please leave us reviews and or subscribe to the show. And actually, we actually haven't received an iTunes review in quite a while. So this is my promise to you. If we ever get to 30, we're at 23 right now. If we ever get to 30, I will do Hero League and I will stream them on Twitch. That's my new
Holy
thing. now.
shit.
So if you guys want to see
shit.
me, I haven't played Hero League in a year. But if we get to 30, whenever that is, if ever, I will stream them all my placement games on Twitch.
Dude,
can
I'm
make-
gonna make
I
like
can make
seven
seven.
fake accounts. Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, make
No,
this
no,
accounts.
no,
I
come
wanna see
on.
this.
All right. Hosts
That
are
is-
not allowed to add to this total.
Yeah, no
And
more.
if you're a host and you haven't reviewed the show yet, shame on you.
Have you
Because even
reviewed?
I did it, and I am by far the laziest of us.
All right,
Lux
so
Lias
again,
in chat. Do they have to be good reviews? Yes, 5-star reviews, motherfucker.
no. If you honestly think it's a 1-star, like that one guy who shit on us, then yeah, that's fine.
His review was epic. I might.
Oh,
add.
I know. He said
I
that
had more fun
funny.
reading that one on the air than any of the other ones.
So, but again, if we get 7 more, then I will stream them all on Twitch, and you guys can bask in my Silver 4 or Silver 3 placement. But if we do it at the in January, I maybe put in gold. Who knows with the new changes? Boom. Okay. So if you have any friends who listen to Hot's content, please spread the word. Also, we have a WinTime channel in BNet called WinTime. It's one word, WinTime. Also, we have our own Discord channel. There you can talk to us as well as see pictures of my dog with his new haircut. Also, if you have any emails, please email us at podcast@gankbushsquad.com. Also, there's a new chat function in Discord. If you want to send us a question there, you can go ahead and do that there as well. We have a Patreon. You're not going to support us anyway, so let's move on. Also, you can find the links to the website at lordsofthestorm.com. Again, lordsofthestorm.com. You can find information about the GankBush squad over there.
Does everyone know the background of that?
We should explain it a little bit.
All right, so the background was I was playing a game with Daz from the Nexus Trolls, and after we were finished, it was like a few days before BlizzCon, and we were talking about like just random stuff as always, and then we were talking about Lords of the Storm, and then we realized they didn't have the domain name because they host their website like on a Libsyn website, so they actually don't own their domain. So I went ahead and bought it. And created a little website to troll them. And again,
dedicated to being a Lord of the Storm.
Yeah, this
It's
is not
actually more trolling ourselves because we all pretend to be like all bronze fivers trying to make it to gold.
Well, I don't know. Again, it's a postmodern joke, I guess. Who knows?
No, it's deconstructionist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm doing what's that? I'm doing a doing a Bojack.
There's the 10 tips on the website. Number 7, number 8. Stutter stepping is incredibly difficult. Your time is best spent reading Reddit. That's number 7.
That's awesome, right? So, all right. So again, one brief thing is that we participated at Con Before the Storm. That's the introduction to the stream right there, where Bacon was able to participate with the other members of the HOTS podcast community. Also, we just posted the raw audio or the audio of the entire panel right before this show. Also, thank you again to Con Before the Storm for allowing us to participate, as well as Ro from the Rail Maintenance Podcast, who actually introduced us to the right people to get on the panel to begin with.
Mm-hmm. You should, by the way, if you haven't watched it yet, see if you can spot the Grandmaster as before the audio even begins.
Oh,
he's the only one with not white skin on the panel.
Yeah.
So
just a hint.
He's a Korean player.
Yeah, a little hint there. He may be from Korea.
So Bacon, quickly, what did you think of being on a panel with some of your, because you listen to all those shows, right? So how did it feel to be on a panel with all of them?
Some of these guys, I've known them for 2-3 years, but Scott Johnson, I've known him since like Wrath of the Lich King. That was in 2009, right when I started playing World of Warcraft. So it was a big honor. I was a little nervous in the beginning. I think I found my footing towards like the middle of the podcast, but it was a blast. It went by too quick. It was like a 45-minute or 1 hour little thing, and I wish it would have been like 2 hours because we spent a good chunk of time on specialists, which ended up being completely outdated information because of the next day's announcements. But I got to meet all of the guys. We exchanged information, and they seem like really cool people. So a day very well spent is actually one of the highlights of the con for me personally.
So what's your favorite HOTS podcast?
GankBush Squad, of course.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. So we actually have a good show for you. We're going to do a deep dive into Alex Straza, as well as initial impressions of Hanzo, the Lili rework, as well as talking about all the cool things that were announced at BlizzCon for Heroes of the Storm. Also, we're going to talk about what they promised at BlizzCon in 2016, but they did not deliver upon. Also, we're going to revisit the Nurok Auto Attack Li Ming build segment because we actually talked to Nurok, or at least I talked to Nurok on Twitter, and we wanted to give him justice because I think we actually kind of missed the boat with the build that he has, and I think it's really good. Also, we're going to briefly discuss the patch that came out on the 1st of November, and then we're going to talk about the HEC at BlizzCon, and then we're going to have an email from a listener, and then lastly, we'll talk about just going to BlizzCon for the first time, and that is pretty much it. So let's go ahead and talk about Alex Straza. So she is a dragon sometimes, and she's a support. So let's go ahead and talk to our Game Master level support main, that is Bacon, on his thoughts on Alex Straza.
I love Alex Straza. She's gonna be my new main, and
There you go.
I love
Yeah.
I love her dragon mechanic. It allows her for like the last minute fights that you need to go into dragon form. And sorry, I'm a little distracted maintaining the stream, but to help
like-
control points, like she basically, once you go into dragon form, all her cooldowns reset, so she gets like 2 waves of abilities, and then she also has her healing ability in her ultimate, so she can like cycle through 2 sets of ultimates and healing abilities within like a short time frame. So her ability to burst and emergency control is amazing, and I love her E. I love her W. I don't know what to say. I just like
Did you
her.
just say Did you say the ult gets reset when you go into dragon form?
Sorry, but her dragon form is basically an ult by itself, right?
It's like Avatar Plus.
Yeah.
I love that she turns into a dragon. Like
It's her
it's
first real
David.
dragon, not a Chromie dragon.
Yeah,
So-
as you guys will recall, that was my chief complaint about Chromie for the entirety of Chromie's existence was like, why would you make a little fucking gnome that is in fact a dragon without letting her turn into a dragon? And at least they took that criticism to heart with this character.
Yeah. And what I meant about going through 2 abilities, you can use in human form QW and use all your healing abilities, and then you can go to dragon form right away after that, and then her Q and W are off cooldown, and they're the empowered forms. So you can actually use W twice within a short span, and that is 50% of the AoE healing that if everyone stands in. So you can heal for 50% of the team's HP. And once you're out of the dragon form, you can use your healing ultimate, which is pretty boss. So it's a lot of burst healing.
All right. So what about Old Backpack? Do you have any thoughts on the character?
I think she is, as Bacon said, she's really cool because she actually has, like, the Ragnarok's ultimate. She has 2 ultimates, essentially. And it gives her a lot more, she's much more skill intensive than, say, Morales or Lily. She has to plan her cooldowns around objectives. The cooldown's about, what, 120 seconds?
150.
Right? 150, yeah. So that's longer than usually the spawning of 2 different objectives. You have to figure out which one you want to save it for. I really like they're giving the players more choices, more options for supports, not just Healbot, which is what they've always been trying to do. And they keep continuing to, expand upon that. My only real complaint is that she feels very double supporty, in that her ability to heal herself is really bad, similar to Anna. And so you feel like double support is being pushed harder with her existing.
Okay. So, Byron, do you have any thoughts on any additional thoughts on Alexstrasza?
I like that she's a skill shot kind of heal hero, but she because there's a delay on her ground heal, her targeted heal, her ground targeted heal, it gives you kind of like some interplay between the team, your team and their team, where like they can kind of almost fight to try to push you out of the healing zone. But also it's not a case where like your friends are actually going to juke your heals unless they're dumb, which I'm sure, Bacon will have a sarcastic comment at me about, since apparently I dodged all his heals in the first game we played with Alexstrasza. But yeah, because of that little delay in there before the heal actually goes off, I actually think it's going to make her healing more effective rather than less effective, and it also provides some interesting counterplay. And she's hot and turns into a dragon, which is like, my ideal woman personally. So
Just so you know, Byron dated a girl who cosplayed as Alexstrasza.
Was that girl we met at the?
I didn't
Yes, that was her.
I
Oh,
didn't
that was
technically
her.
date her, but thank you for outing my personal business on the.
Wow.
You're very welcome, sir. I didn't mention any names. Just
No, it's just that was his friend.
It's all right. I don't think she listens to the podcast. So.
Well, no one really listens to the podcast at all, but
About
right, so-
500 people listen to the podcast. I just.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, anyway. So yeah, I think Old Backpack still thinks that we're still audio only, where that can get edited out in post.
Yeah,
think he
apparently,
knew-
yeah,
he knew what he was doing.
He's floating that out there.
That was fine. I said a person that I cosplayed.
All right. So Towerbrand, do you have any? What do you think? How will
People
she
are going to
do?
think it was that guy with the beard who dressed up as Alexstrasza at the last Blizzcon that we were at.
Yeah.
So Greymane, how will
Am I Gray
Alexstrasza
Man?
perform at the lower levels in the gold and silver level?
Well, that's actually a good question because when we played at BlizzCon, there was this what we dubbed BlizzCon meta, which is very, very low. So I got to see very, very low Alex Strauza play. And pretty much when I played with Grizzly, there was someone on his team who played Alex Strauza, and she had her ultimate as the dragon ultimate, not the healing one. And pretty much that was the oh shit button. Like I'm about to die, oh shit, turn into a dragon, and then
It is a good oh shit button though.
Yeah, it was.
People underestimate it. No.
It is a really long ultimate, and the fact that you can't be targeted because we were getting free kills off her, like up until level 10 when she can run away with that. So I think she's super super strong when she's in her trait. I think it's one of the best traits like in the game. It is I think kind of weird like moving around as the dragon. It's like very easy to hit. I think she's actually gonna be a lot better at the lower levels. And you're saying she's like higher skill cap, but I think she's gonna be pretty strong because a lot of her skill is baked into the trait stuff, like the auto attacks and things like that. The only thing is managing the Q in human form. I think a lot of people are gonna misuse that, and then. But I think she's gonna be pretty strong. I don't know how strong. I don't think as strong as Bacon says she's gonna be, but she's gonna be. Is I think well placed in with the other healers.
So, Blackback, where do you think how strong she'll be? Because I think, obviously Bacon plays on a different meta than Tower Baron does, and you're kind of like in the middle, sort of. So, will she be like kind of like a tier 2 support or like a tier 1 up there with Rhaegar potentially, or what do you think?
I think we're going to see the new Lily, Alex Strauza meta. The two of them pair very, very well.
Yeah, definitely not a solo support.
Well, it's not a definitely fact. It's just that she's Ana-like, and her ability to heal herself isn't that great. Like, yes, their W is there, but it's every 15 seconds.
Well,
and you need to have high health.
Her trait heals her too. Her trait is sort of like a Murden avatar.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be used just for a self heal. It should be used during, a map objective.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bacon, do you want to talk about the builds that BBJ and Bakery have for Alex Strauza?
Yeah, sure. Let me load that up.
It's gonna be all about buffing the trait, like just from.
Yeah,
no, as he's bringing this up,
all about buffing the trait.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
So one brief thing before we go into it is that for those of you who don't know, BBJ is a pro player on Heroes Hearth, and he was on the show a month ago, I guess, around there. So he's been very helpful to the podcast. So just want to give a special mention to him, as well as I created my own tier list on heroeshearth.com as well. And it's actually posted on the website. So if you want to go there, check that out as well. All right.
So this build right here is the fire spam build, and it gives her a lot of sustain if you're able to land her skill shots, which is E, the only skill shot she basically has. And at level 16 and 20, she becomes a fucking monster. So you go 1, 4, and 7, and every time you hit a burning hero, you heal for 10% of your health, and you also reduce your trait by 5 seconds. So if you're doing it well before level 20, you can have in maps like Battlefield of Eternity and Brax's Holdout, when there's a lot of 4v4 skirmishes going on. I can imagine having it up every 60 to 70 seconds, which is, and you go into Dragon form in Brax's Holdout, knock people out of the point, have a lot of healing. So it's a very strong build for those extended teamfight maps. And going into Cleansing Flame at level 10, it's a oh shit button. You get to escape. You get to do emergency last minute healing or finish someone off. And the thing with Cleansing Flame is it reset. It's not a pure global, but it's like a pretty large radius on the map. And every time you drop a fireball, wherever that mouse cursor was, it's going to recenter that area on that last fireball's location. So if you go to the very edge of that fireball and then it recenters and then go to the very edge again, I saw a video clip where someone did that and went from the bottom shrine in Dragon Knight to the top one.
Oh, shit.
So it's, if you use it like that, it's a global in a way. And going level 20, while Dragon Queen is active, her auto attacks apply Flame Buffet, which is the dot. So if you're hitting all 5 players at the same time, you're applying a dot. Every auto attack, you're getting 50% of your health back. And you're also taking 25 seconds off of Dragon's Queen. And if you take the level 16 Draconic Discipline, you're Dragon for 24 seconds instead of 15 seconds. And you're just like standing on the point, auto attacking anybody that comes near, and you're just full life, slowing the enemy team, and you can just chase forever. Kind of like Tassadar does.
So are you saying he is the ultimate Samuro counter?
Yeah. At level 20, yeah, and she's untouchable at level 20 if she's in dragon form. Like if you're contesting a point and you need to fight Alex Stressa to get through it, it's not gonna happen unless you have like pro levels of coordination.
Okay, now let's do Bakery's build, which is a little bit different than. It's actually quite different than BBJ's.
Yeah, this is more of the solo support kind of build, and what it does is you try to get the synergy from the Q, and a lot of it is based on trying to keep your health above 75%. And at level 7, if you get Life Blossom, if your health is over 75%, if you heal an ally with a Q, it drops a seed at that location where they were healed. And if you pick up that seed, your next Q is for free, and it costs no health.
So for those listeners who aren't watching this live, it's Live and Let Live at 1, Exuberance at 4, Life Blossom at 7, Life Bender at 10, Pacify at 13, Tough Love at 16, and Ancient Flame at 20.
Yeah, and Bakery also specifies either Heroic at level 10, whatever. Yeah. And the big thing is the 1 and 7. And 16. So what she wants to do is stay in the back line and just pop a Q on a friendly teammate every 3-4 seconds if she's above 75% health, because she's gonna keep popping heals quickly, and then she's also gonna pick up life seeds, so she keeps getting free heals every 3 seconds. And yeah, it's more of a solo support kind of build.
Okay.
I don't think she's really built as a solo support though.
That's what I'm saying. It's if you go this build, it's more viable.
So did you read out the talents for BBJ's talent build or no?
I'll do it real quick. It's 1, 4, and 7. Go the Fireball build. Number 10, you can go either one depending on the enemy's team comp and your comp, but Cleansing Flame is my go-to. And then 13, 16, and 20, go the Dragon one.
Okay.
Fire, 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 heroic, dragon.
That's really easy to remember.
Fire than dragon.
That's for all the bronze players.
I feel like that's more or less why Bacon actually loves his characters, because of the ability to hybridize, so he can still carry us clowns even though he's a support.
Yeah.
Well, with the new MMR, he'll get rewarded for that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit later. Okay, so anything else?
Daenerys build, I just realized. Fire and
Daenerys? Oh, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
Dracarys.
All right, so anything else on Alex Straza?
I hope it's not too strong. That way she doesn't get nerfed 2 weeks from now.
So you can play her in Hero League?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think if anything gets nerfed, it has to be the trait.
Yeah. I think the 16 and 20s are going to have to be looked at because it seems really strong with the synergies.
Okay, so let's move on. So let's talk about, now we're going to talk about this briefly because, he's not available on the PTR or at all, but Hanzo was, announced at Blizzcon, and we did get an opportunity to try him. So let's briefly talk about Hanzo. So who has played Hanzo at BlizzCon?
I didn't play him, but I played against him.
Okay.
I believe that Grizzly played him a number of times when I was in the team, but
Grizzly's kind of selfish when it comes to new characters. But anyway, let's.
So am I. I mean,
I know.
You guys stuck me on Raynar.
You did very well
Sons
as
of
Raynar,
bitches.
except for the time
I did.
healing, standing on the point.
I was attempting to shoot people in the face, as is my wont.
So anyway, Tower Baron, what are your thoughts on playing with and or against Hanzo? Very briefly.
He seems like he's not very impactful at all. He just seems like very slow moving. His damage output wasn't that good. The people who picked him, I mean, it's hard to tell in game because people are playing them for the first time. But it didn't really seem like he did that much. I mean, he has that little jump, but it's not even that good in comparison to like Genji, which has something similar. His biggest strength was his heroic, the Dragon Strike, that wrecked a lot of people in enclosed spaces. But outside of that, just compared to Alex Straza, just not that good at all. I know it says high damage right there, but maybe he kind of puts it in like not obviously, but he wasn't really like doing that much in the games I was playing.
So if you watch the Heroes Deep Dive where they show like the damage pies of how heroes deal damage, you see that. The damage pie shows it's a pie graph showing you damage from auto tats, damage from Q, damage from E, damage from W.
Yeah,
and how they tuned all those sort of abilities to make him a overall balanced damage dealer. And his auto tat does a lot of damage, and so people who don't stutter step well don't do a lot of damage.
That's
and
probably
during
what
the
it was.
BlizzCon meta,
the BlizzCon meta was all over the place.
He looks very, very undertuned. I feel like he's very, very Raynor-like.
Yeah, he was easy to dive on too. Like that escape isn't that strong.
Well, jumps over a wall, so not bad.
He jumps over, but outside of that, he's just really easy to collapse on.
It's also
when you think
a
about
shitty
his
jump.
abilities,
It's a shitty jump compared to Genji. Genji,
Yeah.
It's a shitty jump.
You can jump anywhere, but Hanzo's tied to a wall. I don't really get that.
yeah.
Aren't they brothers? Yeah.
But one has a cyber suit.
So yeah, cyber agility.
Yeah, it's just
What? The other
It's
one
like
has
human
a dragon
agility.
tattoo. I mean,
All right. Well, again, when it gets released, probably in 3 weeks, we'll definitely do
He'll
a
be
deeper dive.
he'll be the last hero of the year.
For sure. So again, when he's on the PTR, we'll do a deeper dive. So let's move on. So Lily got a rework, and she's on the PTR right now. So let's go ahead and ask Old Backpack what he thinks of Lily now.
she's really good.
She was already pretty good. But she was okay.
She's way more tanky now. They changed her trait such that when her trait is up, she gets 50% cooldown reduction on all of her abilities,
Yeah.
all of her basic abilities. And so you're highly incentivized to be in the front line taking chip damage. And by doing that, you have faster move speed and more cooldown. So by taking more damage, you actually heal more. So it makes this very, very weird counterplay of, be aggressive, but not too aggressive. Such that you're always taking a little bit of damage. It makes her much more, much more thought-provoking as a character. You have to really plan how I position just aggressively enough. And if you play it right, you get a huge return on healing. So I'm really a big fan of her.
What do you think is going to be more viable, the trait build or the W build?
I like trait
Lily's biggest weakness is outside of her inability to target heals, and that doesn't change with the rework, but her biggest weakness is mana regeneration and mana issues. And it seems like the level 1 Eager Adventurer increased the duration of fast feet by 50%, so now it's 1.5 seconds, and mana regeneration is increased by 150% while fast feet is active. So that seems like the go-to talent at level 1 to fix their mana issues.
Okay.
And
I also like how
it kind of seems like the rework is good, but in terms of talent diversity, it doesn't really seem that good, because level 7, the new cleanse, Let's Go, it's a 40-second cooldown cleanse. It heals them, and it also gets reduced cooldown by the trait.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if you're in the middle of a team fight, it's like a 20-second cleanse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I was going to say that's cool, because now they're actually giving cleanse like a special customized treatment now. Because now you actually get to heal someone as well as cleanse them.
It's the second one after Uther got his unique cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that she survived cleanse, but she got not only did she survive cleanse, she got a better cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go that route in the future and start doing like character specific, give more talent diversity, give very character specific cleanse abilities, that sort of thing.
It seems like a month ago I thought they were like Blizzard was on a track where they're going to remove cleanse from the game, but it seems like with this they're actually kind of maybe embracing it for some characters.
I think they are going to ultimately remove cleanse from the game, but they're going to have cleanse-like abilities that are character-specific and have kind of like Uther or like New Lily that are going to be. They'll have the same effect on those characters, but they will also come with a caveat or come with a sort of additional benefit depending on the character.
So very briefly, Byron, does cleanse exist on League of Legends, like a thing like that makes someone unstoppable essentially?
No, we don't have anything like that. In Dota, there's Black King Bar, which is a item that basically any super carry, like a melee super carry, buys late game, which prevents them from being CC'd when you activate it. And in League of Legends, we have a stat called Tenacity, which reduces the duration of crowd control effects. And whether or not some character somewhere does have like an unstoppable effect that they can cast on people, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's been a while since I was involved with character design, but it's
Okay.
I think it's mostly tenacity is how we dealt with that in League.
Blizzard has been stated saying that they don't like cleanse because it's a lazy design, and it's a dirty fix for a big problem in Heroes, the crowd control stun. The chain that goes on. So would you agree with that?
Stun locking is a big problem in every MOBA, but I don't know that there's like a discrete solution to it. In WoW, they tried diminishing returns where you can't just CC someone into oblivion every time they get hit with a crowd control. They have to get hit with a different type of crowd control for the next one, or it doesn't work as well. The sort of the cleanse ability, I think, it's boring to just give that to every healer and make that a required talent.
But it's necessary too.
I think it is. I think that certain abilities, like for example, Uther's heal, for example, that gives a shitload of bonus armor if you're stunned, is another way to help deal with that. There are other kind of things you can that you can do to help mitigate crowd control, but the easiest one is to allow people to circumvent it in some way or cure it in some way. There have been other attempts, like there's Fear Ward in WoW, for instance, that just made you immune to a certain type of CC and ate the first one. So
Okay.
I don't know.
And there's also Anna. Anna has the talent where you choose remove slows and roots or remove stuns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. That's their way of giving you
Doing
cleanse but not cleanse.
Yeah, you get to
Yeah.
pick between roots and
slows
slows versus stuns or movement speed.
So back to Lily. What do you guys think about having all the blind talents at level 13 now?
She no longer counters Illidan as well.
Yeah, like she had like a nice little niche, and now they kind of removed that away now, which I don't know. I think I'm not a fan of it, but I can see why they did that. But I don't know.
I think that the reason that they're doing that is they seem to be doing that on all the old characters. Old characters, like the original design, kind of gave you options for each ability at each talent tier, and what it incentivized was ability stacking. So characters like Thrall, for example, I used to always play a Chain Lightning build on Thrall, and I think you could still do that on Thrall, but even he's really overdue for a remake. But I think that they're going to move more and more away.
Like 6 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's overdue for another one.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I think we all agree that they kind of fucked that one up though. But they said that it was experimental when they did it, so I'm fine with that. But, okay. All right, anyway.
Remember when Ragnaros first came out and you can stack Q talents and he was overpowered as hell?
Yeah, and that's what it's going to lend itself to, that where people are going to try and powerhouse one talent and become kind of this one trick pony of a character instead of one trick Fire Elemental One Trick Panda. They're gonna do that because they've already kind of counterpicked.
But just to kind of be, devil's advocate, Alistraza has her fire build. You picked fire talent. It's fire, dragon. Where you really stack that fire. Like so,
Yeah.
they're not removing that sort of playstyle of stacking abilities.
Yeah, but if you want a solo support, then you're gonna go the other build,
which
right?
is QQQ. Like, and you still stack the Q abilities. Like, they're not removing talent stacking.
Yeah.
But for some characters, they say no, we will remove it. And others we won't. It seems arbitrary.
Well, I haven't actually played Alistraza, so.
Why do 3 things poorly when you can do one thing really well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, I don't have a big issue with the stacking of talents. Like, I think that's fine, but But anyway, all right. Let's. Anything else on Lily?
Well, I think when you stack talents, it just makes the other talents like once you go one talent at level 4, everyone knows what you're going to go for the following talent. So it's kind of one-dimensional. I think. I kind of liked it when it was. You can pick one of the 3 for each ability at each level.
Well,
you're kind of pigeonholed into one talent choice because if you switch to another one, it's not going to be as effective.
I don't know. I mean, like Sonya has tons of options, now. So I mean, it's not just. I don't know. I don't want to make it sound like it's very systemic in the game. There are some that have it, some that don't. Like Sonya is a really good example that has tons of diversity. You can build her many ways and be successful with her. All right. So, let's move on.
Okay. I think that what they want is for the talents to be counterplay related, so that you're adapting every time you level up. You have to make a decision in game.
Yeah, based on the current status of the game.
Yeah, rather than just sort of
fireball,
learning a prescriptive build.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the ultimate place they want it to be, but I don't know if you can actually do that because now that there's so many characters in the game, every character now has like their counter picks. Like Lily used to counter Illidan, or like Zul'jin, or like a very auto attack based team, and that was her niche.
I still think that's the case, but
I think so too.
Yeah, you still have to adapt your playstyle a little bit, position better so that you're actually hitting the proper heroes. It's still there. It's harder to play. I think it's not a straight counter now.
I think that. I lost my train of thought. Just go on.
Okay.
Right, so I just want to say that the Lily ultimate change is really, really good. It gives you more choices during the team fight where you can cancel your Judds early to have a reduced cooldown. That I really like.
Yep,
No,
I agree.
You do not want to cancel it early though. It's
you don't want to, but
20, it's base 20-second, and that's if you cancel it immediately. And it's up to 70 seconds if you use the full duration. And if you cancel it immediately, you got like 2 or 3 ticks of the heal, and you're not gonna use that fucking ultimate again for the rest of the team fight, so it's a waste. But I think what it protects against is it getting canceled out. Honestly, I think that's the biggest protection built into the ultimate now, that where Lily's trying to use it and then they get immediately stunned out of it, so it doesn't feel as bad when that happens. I don't think if you're using it strategically to like stop healing, number one, you didn't get the full heal. You're not gonna use it again in that same team fight unless it's like a 2-minute team fight. Number 3, you wasted all that mana for only a fifth of the heal.
Yeah. So I agree with Bacon. So unless you're like trying to cap a shrine on Towers of Doom, you probably don't want to stop your jugs.
Yeah. And how many times have you
never
used
wants
jugs
to stop their jugs?
How many times have you started jugs and but like that's plenty of healing. I can stop healing now. They're always slow.
Never
Well, can do it. It's an option they give you.
No, what I will say, if you want to cleanse someone, if someone's like in a mosh pit, right, you can cleanse them. I can see that,
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on.
Wait,
right.
One more thing about the serpent. They changed the functionality where it gets the heal on the serpent attacks.
Yeah, it's a little bitch ass healing. It's negligible.
Yeah,
it's negligible. I think it's a nerf. I'm not saying it's good. I think it's a nerf because they increased the mana cost for it, and like it doesn't attack as much.
I think that's why. Yeah, I think that's why people are going to go trait build. Like why put your eggs in the W build when you can trait build?
Yeah, they nerfed that serpent. So,
All right. So, all right, let's move on. Actually,
Wait,
no,
that's one
wait.
thing.
just kidding.
All right. Anyway,
Jesus.
in my rankings,
Man.
I have her as a tier 1 support. I think she's up there with Rhaegar and stuff now. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's move on. So, let's talk about what was announced at BlizzCon. And we actually have an article. We'll link to it in the show notes at gankbushsquad.com. But so basically, they announced performance-based matchmaking, a rework of stealth, a new camera angle, laning improvements, different changes to taking bruiser camps, as well as new roles, and lastly, everyone's favorite today for some fucking reason, it's voice chat. But let's go ahead and talk about performance-based matchmaking. So basically, what this is going to be is that for every character played, it's going to look at roughly 20 stats, and they're going to weigh the stats differently by character, by region of the world, as well as by map and the time of the game.
By region of the world.
Yeah, so if you're playing in Korea versus Europe, it's going to be different.
So you're like a gold NA and then bronze Korea.
I think again, they don't talk about the weighting at all, but they did say that they're going to look at it, break it out by where you're playing. So, and so also like games with short lengths will be normalized with games with longer lengths as well. So if you stomp someone, you'll still get credit if you played really well. But basically, what's going to happen is that your MMR, even if you lose a game, your MMR will decrease still, but will not decrease at the same amount as everyone else's. So if you played really well, you'll still lose some MMR, but you won't lose as much. I mean, we won't know how much, but basically it signals to the fact that that if you play well, you will be somewhat rewarded for doing so. Also, if you're doing a Smurf account, you can no longer possibly, under this theory, that you can no longer game the system and get a Smurf and just do what Tower Baron did and place in the gold and then.
Tower Baron, that's like what everyone did.
Well, you could argue that if this was enacted earlier, Tower Baron wouldn't have to Smurf. He would rise, just naturally using the MMR system.
No, exactly. So the one thing is that they showed a graph that Bacon has right now of a Grandmaster level player taking over a Bronze 5 account and showing how he or she grinded back to the Master level. And they showed with the new MMR system, they would do that in roughly half the amount of time of the current system.
The old system was 251 games to get to Masters ranking MMR. And with the new system, it took 131 games. So roughly half the amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing I will say is that this all looks really great, but I'm still waiting for the actual, notes to come out. Because they haven't released any.
Well, they're not going to tell you the notes because then people are going to try to game it.
I really doubt that they're going to give you any details on how it works.
Well,
I'm just going to just get my Asmodan, dunk stats or stacks off.
So this is my take on this: is that it sounds really good, and I think it's very easy to
get overexcited about
this. If you're a Silver 4 player and you're trying to get out of Silver. Don't think of this as a quick fix to get out of Silver. If it's going to it will still take a lot of games to get out.
Well, but if you look at this graph, though, the steepest part of the graph is in the first, was it like 50 games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you will jump up really quickly on those first 50 games.
That is a Masters player being matched up against gold to bronze level players, and they're being completely outplayed by the Masters player. So of course it's going to be a steep jump. And
it's steeper than it was before.
Towards
steeper
the end
than the old system.
Yeah, towards the end of the graph, kind of levels out because he's actually getting matched up with players near his ranking. So that's why it kind of slows down. But yeah,
that's the biggest part of the graph because the slope of the graph past like the halfway point, like 100 games, is kind of the same. Mm-hmm. The biggest jump comes in the early part of the games. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, but be aware though. Silver 4 players still exist. It will help you find your actual placement. It will not boost you up higher. If you're a Silver 4 player, you will go to Silver 4 very, very fast. Okay?
Yeah, you will start to see the plateau of that curve at Silver 4 if that's your natural inclination.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if there's a discrepancy, you will reach your intended level sooner. And that's what I think what everyone wants.
So this is my analogy on it. So basically, if you're trying to lose weight, right? Like let me just finish the thing. So it's like if you want to lose 20 pounds, it's still going to take you about a year to do so. But the only thing this will do is that if you actually get a gym membership instead of just going out running on your own, then you'll be able to maybe lose that weight faster if you have like a gym membership or if you have like an in-home gym. That's basically what it is. You still have to do the hard work to lose the weight, but it may be a little bit easier if you put in more hard work than everyone else. That's basically what it is.
I don't know what you're talking about. But the big question is, I think,
to create your meal plan and
chew your food for you or something.
Yeah.
But
no. But like again, it makes it a little bit easier. It's kind of like like in the Rocky 3 where like Rocky is training like in in Alaska.
Dude, that's Rocky 4, dude.
Whatever
Rocky
it is.
3 is against Clubber Lang.
Anyway, it's like Rocky 4 where like the Russian guy is training with like in this high tech.
Ivan Drago.
He's training in this really high tech gym, and Rocky's like in Alaska lifting up
Dude,
he's in Russia.
He's in
wherever
Russia,
the fuck he is.
Alaska.
He's in the
Did he
snow.
cross the Bering Strait to go
if
fight
you live in
Ivan
Alaska,
Drago?
you can see Russia from your house.
Yeah,
Well, anyway.
same thing.
it's only in very small portions of Alaska.
Hey,
And I learned that from Sarah Palin. Are you calling her a liar?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, Blemish is from Alaska, so he can actually back this up to be true.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Well, anyway,
You fight Russians there?
Yeah, you wrestled them like bear.
So, lastly is that not lastly, but like another thing is that I think this is actually going to be helpful. So I feel like people will less likely troll in the game now, knowing this is out there.
You have no idea how dedicated I am to trolling, apparently.
Yeah, the trolls out there are very proud of their trolliness.
But-
Have you seen Bilbo's Wagons?
But
People
Byron
do swagons.
doesn't play ranked, so it won't happen.
It's because I'm not a good
That's
troll.
the question we have to talk about. Like, why would they make these changes? Are they wanting to get more people to play ranked? Do you think more people play ranked if there's these changes?
I think it's two things. They want to want to reward better players, right? And they also want to I think it's also like for like the lower level players to say, oh man, I can't grind out of silver. It gives them well, Blizzard's going to go, well, fuck you. We have 20 stats. You're not good.
Well, I think a lot of people don't play ranked not because they can't level up. I think a lot of people don't play ranked because of the toxicity. To be honest. And,
Well, again, I think
to
that's
speak on that
that'd be
is
nullified.
they said with this new system they are more able to recognize automatically through the system that who's trolling or who's proper
see that would
throwing
get me to
games
play
on
Hero
purpose.
League if I wasn't playing Hero League. If they said something like that, they could tell who's just
if they can weed out
tanking the game.
assholes quickly and silence them out of the Hero League queue, and I mean that's just a better system all around. But for those who are kind of worried about specialists split pushing and kind of gaming the system, you have to realize that to game the system, you just have to play well. That's the only way to actually game the system, because if you just split push and focus on that is only one metric you are doing well in, and the game takes into account 20 other metrics in the game and compares it with all the other split Zagara players in your region. And if it doesn't line up with what other good Zagaras are doing and your numbers don't match up, you are not going to get the benefit from that MMR system, because only one or two of your stats are good and then everything else suffers for it. That means you did a below average game. And the system learns on that. So the player behaviors of that specific hero in your specific MMR range for that region, it's all taken into account.
And also, I don't think they actually said this, but I think if you got carried, you're not going to get as much MMR for wins as well. I hope.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Probably not, because that means your stats have suffered in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, again, if you're in Team League and you're playing with, if I'm playing with 4 Grandmasters and we win, I shouldn't get nearly as much as everyone else.
Well,
theoretically.
The thing is,
So-
if you're playing with really good tank players and they just send you up for easy shots, you can have good numbers, but it's really enabled by the other players. I think the most important thing with this whole change is knowing that you won't lose as much points, MMR points, if you play well on a losing game. That's the biggest thing. It's kind of like if you're losing, well, we're all going to lose anyway. I don't want to really play anymore. But then you have more incentive to not go AFK or troll or anything.
Mm-hmm.
The whole getting extra points for playing a little bit better, that's a little bit harder to judge. Because Scott was saying last week that, let's say like you had to sacrifice yourself.
The graph
to
just
stall out
showed
the
you
game.
that. The graph
What
just
was that?
showed you that. The graph just proved you wrong. What are you talking about? That graph shows if you're really playing well, you'll move faster.
I'm not saying what it does. I'm saying that like it disincentivizes players trying to win the game for trying to save their own stats. If you can get more points by playing well. Scott brought up that example last week or 2 weeks ago that maybe you have to sacrifice yourself to stall out a game so you can win and take the core. That's going to hurt your stats because you're going to have one more death on your benchmark.
Ultimately, a win is a win, and
A win is a win.
If you win the game,
that's the biggest metric.
Remember,
what if two of you have the chance to stall? It's like, I'm not going to stall. You stall.
No. What happens is that
I'm going to get more points if you win and you take the death.
No,
if
it's
you
not,
lose the game, you lose MMR. Like nothing's going to stop that.
Yeah.
So you're better off sacrificing yourself because then you don't, instead of getting 100 MMR points, you'll get like 75. You want more. You don't want to lose a game. Like they don't want you to lose a game.
It's about losing less and winning more. You're still
Exactly.
winning the base amount that you were going to get anyway, and then whatever on top of that, that's the MMR system.
This goes kind of back to the MVP thing that Scott was talking about.
Shit.
It's
If you dying means you win the game, then you're gonna die. You lose
Well, let's just say
5% more
you're not-
MMR because of that. That's
Let's just say there's two of you that could stall a game, and you just say, well, you take the death. Like I want to get more points when we win, and there's like this chicken thing going back and forth.
Who's that
Those things
coordinated?
happen. First of all, those happen like in a split second usually. There's never really any talk about it ahead of time. I'm not dying. You're dying. No, I'm not. That happens like within like 10 seconds.
I'm just saying, if you have this get more points if I'm the MVP type of thing.
I think you're going way down the rabbit hole and overthinking it.
Yeah.
I think that's like
you
conspiracy theory stuff. That's way too much.
I'm just saying, I like the fact that you cannot lose as many points by playing well on a losing team.
But you're talking about that scenario that you described. It probably will happen 1 out of every 500 games. Like I don't really care about that.
Yeah, and read the chat. As Super Dave says, winning still gets you a majority of the points. Winning matters.
Exactly. So, that scenario won't happen ever. So, all right, let's move on from that. So, they decided to rework stealth, I think for the better, right? Yes, no.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's no longer an eye test.
I actually kind of liked the active camo system that they had, but
What a surprise! The troll.
I seem to be the only one.
Yeah, what a surprise! The troll likes the trolly aspect of it. Oh, there we go. We actually have it up.
Yeah.
So basically, how it works is that if you're moving, they can see you, but once you stop moving for 1.5 seconds, then you cannot be seen whatsoever. And I think that's a pretty good trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually going to rework, Samuro, Nova, Zeratul,
Valera.
Yeah,
Now,
Valera.
Is this going to be the case for all stealth characters, or is this going to only be the case for characters who have essentially permanent stealth?
Like
Every
Sharonda, Shadowstock.
Great
Like
main as well.
Hammer.
Yep.
Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Hammer stealth.
Yeah. But I think that's
in
so.
the case of Hammer, I think if the complete invisibility goes in, then she will be completely invisible. Because
rooted.
Hammer's not
Yeah.
moving with that talent.
Yeah, because the question that I would have is someone like Samuro going to now have just complete invisibility because his invisibility is shorter lived.
I think
Nope.
it's got the 1 second complete invisibility is still there, but after that he becomes the new Shade. But to make up for that, they buffed other parts of their kit. So, like Nova, she still has the 3 second before cloaking, but now she also has like an active ability on her D to go cloak instantly. Samuro gets the Illusion Master version, like baseline, so he can like switch clones from level 1. There's little things in the game.
That actually should make him very fun and interesting to play, considering no one took that talent.
But yeah, it's good for the game that stealth is not as toxic because lower level players couldn't see the stealth very well. Hell, neither did I with my shitty ass settings or on dark maps. And so it's just better for the game that the stealths aren't nearly as taunted feeling. You feel like you have counterplay against them. You see them much more easily.
Well, there also is another change they put in, like anti-stealth with the towers having true sight as well.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Before you could just kind of walk behind the back lines and see if there's an Abathur there or someone there and just gank them when they're hearthing back or something. So,
Yep. Also, another thing is that if you're using your keyboard, just mute your mic or mute Skype. So, okay. Yep. Anyway, I think it's good. I mean, actually, I don't play stealth heroes and I don't play quick match, so I never see stealth. So,
have you ever played a stealth hero?
No, I don't. I think it's kind of chicken shit.
You've never played Zeratul?
Never even once played a stealth hero. Wow.
To get me to level 5, I mean, like it gets AI, I guess, but no, I see no appeal to like roaming in the dark and then killing someone. Like I get no enjoyment from that.
Seriously, that's one of the most fun parts of the game.
No, well, I don't know. I don't really
It's
care.
just super hard
I
to.
agree with Matt. I recognize that Zeratul is a playmaker. I just don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's again, I'm pretty sure a large portion of the player base loves Nova and Valera, but I mean, because I get it. You work your shitty job, you come home, you want to kill someone, you want to troll people. I get it. You just want to be with Valera and just be next to someone and just blow them up. I get it. But I actually like my life, so I don't need to play those characters.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's right.
The Nova
Hot
fired.
take, huh? Hot take.
Yeah.
Somebody's passing judgment over others over there. I see.
Speaking of passing judgment, let's move on to the
Serial?
the voice chat. The voice chat. Apparently, like the world went on fire. At least on Reddit. If the world was Reddit. So I think voice chat is a good idea, but apparently some people think that like if you have voice chat, people are going to belittle minorities or women. I guess for some strange reason.
That does
We are all
happen
against that.
in
By the
other
way.
games, so.
I think that they're going to belittle people. I don't necessarily know that there will be targeted specifically any more than usual anyway.
Yeah, I think people, yeah. Sorry.
I think that if there is voice chat, it should be opt-in. And if you opt in, that is the risk you run. This is the internet we're talking about.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
but
don't get
also
it.
this is like 5 middle-aged dudes talking about this, and we don't have to put up with this shit. There is
No,
a
it's not.
problem.
It's definitely millennials.
Middle age.
I mean, there are definitely women out there who put up with this bullshit.
We're not the core podcast. We're not middle aged. What are you talking about?
All right, young adults. What do you want? Bunch of big wiener dudes.
That's me, all right.
There it is.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't have to put up with the shit, but a small segment of the gamer population has to. But the arguments they're using, that they're gonna get harassed. Every new social media platform and little feature that they add in, like I remember when Twitch first came out, and I was reading a Reddit comment saying that when Twitch first came out, that it would be bad for minorities and women because of the harassment aspect, and it's made every time like a new social media thing comes up, like Facebook, the new avenues that people like that will get harassed, and it happens every time, right? We just release it, and some people have to deal with that shit, but there are ways to combat it by blocking people and reporting them. So
I can tell you one better. When the telephone came out, they thought that this would be a horrible thing for the moral fortitude and constitution of everywhere, because how would you know if the person on the other line was maybe in their nightshirt or maybe not dressed properly? It could be a scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. People are shit. Deal with it. You want to live in the world?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say. So, we didn't know David 2 years ago. Like, we just played a game with him, and we added him on Skype. He was fine. Well, sort of. And then,
Sort of.
I'm all right. As much as anybody else is, I think I'm okay.
exactly. No, then, Bacon was a random guy in Windtime. I didn't know who he was, and now he's here.
Yeah,
You know?
it's pros and cons to anything. There's consequences to doing anything. And if you want to interact with people, occasionally you're going to meet an asshole. That's really just all it is. It's just a bunch of assholes. And occasionally you run into them.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Watch the South Park on chat roulette.
Yeah.
Where is where you see a lot of dits.
Yeah, he's taking his pants off now. Yeah.
Again, like
little did you know that every person you'd meet on chat roulette would just be Louis C.K.
Oh no!
You found a way to bring it back, didn't you?
Yeah, thank you.
But anyway, like I don't know. I think it's a great thing. I've been asking for this for at least a year now. Caldor's been wanting this for like 2 years, I guess. I don't see any negatives unless, I don't see any negatives to this, but apparently people on Reddit think there's lots of negatives, which I don't understand. And
I don't see any inherent negatives. I definitely see additional avenues for sick fucks to be sick fucks. But what would you like me to do about that? Would you want me to fly to their house and beat the shit out of them individually, or like? What, none of us can have nice things because some people try and ruin them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
the report system exists and blocking exists.
Yes, report them, block them. And in the meantime, call them assholes who fuck their mothers, which is what they mostly are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want.
Every time I've been on voice comms with another player, I've had some awkward interactions, but never any salty interactions. So
never ever.
Never ever.
I have.
Anyone outside people outside.
Until David starts talking about Kevin Spacey, maybe in the 25th minute of that conversation, it starts getting a little salty. But outside of that, nothing much.
Yeah. To be fair though, like the only bad conversations I've ever had, it's always been with the GankBush squad on voice comms. never like with anyone else. It's only with us internally.
We do sometimes troll each other, but that's consensual, all right?
Yeah, I know, but like
we're not going to bother consenting adults who like to get on voice chat and rip each other on Facebook or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, every one timer that I've ever played with, it's always been at the very least cordial.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've played with over maybe like 40 or 50 of you, and it's never been any issues whatsoever. So, but anyway, all right.
I would disagree with that, but I don't want to spread rumors.
I don't know.
Sometimes you say, "Oh, this guy, I'm never playing with this guy ever again."
Well, that guy's not a one timer though, and he wasn't on a voice chat today, so I don't know who that guy was.
Oh,
that's true. No voice chat.
He was a bad Gazlo. No. There's no voice chat with that guy. He trolled us.
You've successfully argued your point. I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on. So I want to talk about the new camera view that looks really cool. You're gonna have a wider shot, which is great.
Let me look that up.
Okay. Do you want me to stall it out? There it is.
Stall it out.
This is the current one. There's the new one. Old, new. Old, new.
Nice.
It's like 10%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can switch between the two, right?
From the base.
Before, after. Look at it. It's all skinny, no fat.
So, quick question: does it help if you have like a bigger monitor now with this change at all, or
some players have been getting like ultra wide monitors, so it adds, like you can stand in the middle of the fort and see both left and right forts in the middle of the lane and see both left and right forts.
Bear in mind though that Fog of War still exists, so.
Yeah. I think the bad thing is the mini map and everything. It's on the corners of the monitor, so you have to look for that much further to look at the mini map or your health. Or so it's a pain. It's a plus and minus thing.
All right. Okay, so I want to move on to landing improvements, specifically the towers or the turrets. I'm sorry, the turrets will no longer have a finite number of ammo. It's going to have unlimited ammo. So I think we can all agree that's a good thing. I guess it means now, kill the entire turret before you leave, I guess, if possible.
Is there a health bar on the new one? Because I saw that same image, and you have to actually hit it for the health bar to come up?
There's a health bar.
Mm-hmm. The health bar will show up as soon as the tower takes damage. Full health things do not have a health bar. But the And I'm assuming that will be a thing that it persists on this, yeah. But it's going to make people commit to laning, so they're not going to be able to play Zool and then just lane very safely, allowing their minions to do basically all the work. They're going to have to go forward and actually engage the turrets if they want to make progress.
No, it's taking damage. I don't see any health bar. I don't know what's with that. See, I was thinking about that too.
There are buttons you can press to turn that feature off when you're looking at a replay. This is probably what that footage is from. Whoever recorded it probably turned off the health bars.
Well, they're a hater.
Yeah.
But there is a health bar, don't worry.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so I want to talk briefly about taking bruiser camps now will be easier if you can stutter step. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
The new roles, now they're going to actually have bruisers, tanks, support, healer, and etc.
But
they already actually had
that's
that.
a long time in the making.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually already had that internally, but they're just going to make it public, for everyone to see in game now. So that's kind of cool. Yep.
That's probably in like the next 6 months, though, right?
Probably.
They
Well,
said
well.
it's coming out soon.
So actually, that's a good segue to
with the camps, though. Just backing up with the camps. Does this mean certain characters that weren't able to take camps so easily can take camps?
The siege minion specifically.
Yeah, for the siege minions. The 5
the rhinos.
Yeah, the rhino ones. The 5 person one is a little bit different, but
Mm-hmm.
do you think this will change a lot of characters who say, "Well, I can't take a camp because I'm not going to take damage now"? Like, it's not like there's a Vala that's going to be able to take camps now, right? What do you think?
Yeah, no,
You
that's
could.
that's basically what it's for. It's for like if you're a good player, you can do it as Rainer probably.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying almost every character can take at least the small camps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, assuming that you have
Wow.
opposable thumbs and are able to move your character in between attacks.
Yep. Yeah, and also allows
oof.
flexibility with laning as well.
Who farted in chat said, wouldn't the new classes create a high barrier of entry for new players? Too much information to acclimate. Well, that's also part of what the laning changes are for. They're going to simplify some of the timers. So all map objectives are going to either start at 1 minute 30 or 3 minute mark, just depending on the map. And all the merc timers are also going to be standardized throughout the maps. So the new classes, I think it's better because you are not giving inaccurate information. I'd rather have the correct information and be a little bit complicated rather than have the wrong information because, there are multiple different types of supports. There are multiple different types of warriors. And just to say that the Haka is the same warrior as an ETC is completely wrong. And I'd rather have that fixed and have it be a little bit more harder for newer players. But if they learn the new system and it's the correct way to think about a hero when you're learning it for the first time, that could be a big change.
Also, to talk about the too much information, Blizzard has said that they're going to not release as many characters next year, as well as they're going to space out stuff more instead of having a patch could have 2 reworks, a new character, and tons of other changes to other heroes. Now they're going to split it up, where 1 week will be just the new hero, and then the next week will be two reworks, and then the next could be changes to other minor characters and stuff like that. So they're actually are going to lessen the amount of information in a condensed amount of time moving forward, at least for the next year anyway. Which I think is a bad thing, but
I think also that the complexity of that information is going to matter as much as long as there are enough simple heroes for people to pick up and play. Just saying say Genji is an assassin is almost just sort of misleading to a player. Whereas if you just say Reynar is an assassin and Genji is like a diver or something, as long as they know what an assassin is and that those characters are easy, they'll they'll tend to gravitate towards those characters and won't gravitate towards someone like Genji who might have a more off-putting title.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and hopefully this means that they also update that easy, medium, hard system that they have going on. It's pretty misleading too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think we can all agree that I think if I came into the game fresh, right now, I would just be overwhelmed because Blizzard, we can all agree on this. They do a pretty shitty job for new players coming into the game who have no idea what's going on. especially if you're learning a MOBA for the first time. Like they have Uther, show you how to buy stuff in the shop, and then you're off playing games. So I think Blizzard has an opportunity to make that better for everyone. But I think they're just relying on Squadron to make videos for them for some reason. But that's another story in itself.
Well, I mean, I think most players that come to this game have played a Blizzard game or MOBA game in the past.
Well, the Windtimers that I've spoken to, this is their first MOBA.
They've played StarCraft or like Warcraft before, right? This isn't like you're very unique in the sense that you've never played any type of video game like online ever before.
I don't know. I mean, I know Mosley, who we met in LAX.
Yeah,
this is his first one. I think maybe Loxley, this was his first one. Like a lot of people, this is their first MOBA. So, but either way, even if it wasn't
first MOBA, but this is also my first MOBA. No, we're not saying that. First Blizzard game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess so. But I don't know. I would assume that playing StarCraft is completely different than playing HOTS.
Oh, no, that's
the
actually the
mechanics.
closest game
Oh, really?
to Heroes of the
Well,
Storm.
Yeah,
Well,
mechanics
shit.
are just very similar.
Well, let's move on from
just
that.
because to show you don't play StarCraft at all.
No, and also it's free. It's free, by the way. If you want to play, it's all free now, I guess.
Yeah, you should
right?
try it.
I'm not going to do that.
It's Lost Vikings, but harder.
play
You already know how to
mission-
play pretty much.
Play the missions on easy. That way you can get to learn like Raynor, Tychus, Kerrigan. Who's on the Wings of Liberty missions? Zeratul?
Stukov. Well,
Zeratul is in a great set of Wings of Liberty missions, actually. Those are my favorite missions of the whole series, the trilogy. The
Flashbacks,
trilogy.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, let's move on. So I want to quickly talk about what Blizzard promised us last BlizzCon, but they didn't give us this year. So they said they would give us hero swaps and draft. No dice. I guess that's coming next year. Who knows?
Well, it's in
Soon,
customs,
DM.
and that's it.
Yeah, so maybe that's like their asterisk. Like we did give it to you, but only in this one game mode for professional play.
That no one
Maybe.
plays, yeah.
Yeah, but they also didn't give us clans. Does anyone care about that? No.
What do you
Some
think?
people care.
They are dropping that idea and going with the social features in the Battle.net app, and that is their answer to clans. You guys know about this, right?
Yeah, I know about it, but like I don't.
They're kind of like
I talked about it.
Discordifying Battle.net.
Yeah, no, I talked about that on the Geeks of Azeroth like 2 episodes ago for them. So I'm not gonna reiterate. If you want, you can actually go to that episode. And actually, my name is in the title, so you can find it pretty quickly. But if you want to know my thoughts on that, just go to the Geeks of Azeroth podcast, and you can find my thoughts on that. Sorry.
But not on the podcast you host. You're not going to divulge that information on your podcast.
I think it's not going to do anything. I think people use Discord. They're just going to use Discord or TeamSpeak, and they're not going to use anything different because, you can only have one. You can't have MySpace and Facebook. There can only be one. So that's basically it.
Who else thought of Highlander when you said that?
I know. I did that intentionally, by the way. That was intentional.
It's the only reason anyone uses that phrase.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and also there was Party Finder. Was that like?
That doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. But I guess all we really wanted were hero swaps. But
Yeah.
Party Finder.
Yeah.
I wish you just logged on and just say, I want to join a party.
You can do that. It's an option, but it's terrible.
Well,
Okay.
what it's like, I am
you wanna
a
get a
Masters
quest done.
player in NA region. I am a support main. I am looking for a tank and a DPS
It's like a
main.
classified.
right?
It's like a classified. Right.
And then you go into the system, and then the game matches you up randomly with a party of guys, and then you can play games together.
All right. Let's move on.
It's like in World of Warcraft.
All right, this is going to be like a 2.5-hour show if we don't speed it up. Okay, so moving on. So we wanted to revisit the Auto Attack Li Ming segment that we did in our last podcast, specifically the Nurok build. I'm going to call it that because it's his build. So anyway, he actually saw the video or saw us on Twitter talk about it, and he tweeted a response to our segment, and this is what he said. So I'm actually going to read it verbatim.
Fringe is reading things aloud.
So this is what he
Brace
said.
yourselves.
Prepare
This is what he
yourselves,
said
yeah.
via Twitter. All right, he said this build is not map dependent. I only adjust. Actually, what it is this build? Actually, let me pull it up.
Oh man.
So his build is actually we got it wrong, I think, or at least I got it wrong. So it's force armor at 1, charge blast at 4, calamity, wave of force, cannoneer, fireflies, and tall Rasha elements. Whatever. Anyway, that's his build. So this is what he said via Twitter. The build is not map dependent. I only adjust level 7 and level 20 on the build. It is a sustained DPS build to pressure frontliners and outduel mobile enemy heroes like Genji, Zeratul, and not rely on hitting all skill shots. I take Seeker if I think I stay back and poke, and I take Calamity if I think I will get resets in close combat. Quotations or parentheses, without the E range on 13, it's not as easy to aim for E damage usage. He goes on, I almost always take this build by now, and I am convinced it's the best build. The only downsides is having less burst and less mobility, but in return you get more spell protection. Parentheses, spell armor level 1, end parenthesis. More sustained DPS due to level 4, 13, and 16, and you can auto attack tanks without being in complete danger because E has unstoppable frames, unlike Vala's Vault. But it depends obviously on enemy draft. End of story, or the takeaway. I take the build almost always by now. More sustained DPS, and Li Ming evolves from a bursty spell-only mage into a auto-attack mage. The risk isn't that high, as mentioned by us. You just need to understand what you're doing and play with your mobility. The highest weaknesses are massive dive. If you can't escape or kill, you're pretty much dead. So that's basically what he said.
That's also the same weaknesses of old Li Ming too. Just it's a little bit worse, a little bit. But I've tried the build a couple times. I've played maybe 7-8 games with this build, and I love it. It's my new Li Ming build, and it takes one of Li Ming's greatest teamfight weaknesses and then trades a little bit of survivability and fixes that weakness. So what is it? She is very gimmicky in that she's reset dependent. So she needs to kill somebody to actually be useful in the team fight. And what happens if she is not able to kill somebody? Because, missiles are slow, they're hard to aim, and, it's very hard to finish somebody unless they're low and you hop in for the calamity. So it takes that, transforms it with Cannoneer at level 13. And if you have proper stutter stepping and, aiming your auto attacks, she can focus a portion of her overall damage into those auto attacks and, burst people down straight up. Like you QWE and then auto attack, and that's like a QWE and 4 auto attacks all in one instant. And, it's a shit ton of damage.
And actually, he sent me a replay where he was playing Li Ming, and he was playing against a Greymane and a Gul'dan, and he had like 65k damage, and like the next highest was like Greymane with like 45k. So you're talking about an extra, 18% more damage. And he was really good. I actually watched it at dinner last night, and it was really good. And it was
it's great.
It was half mass.
And with 16 going fireflies, you have a lot more missiles to work with, and they're fast, easier to aim, so it's harder to dodge. Yeah, it's good.
Man. He's chunky in ETC pretty well with those auto attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the only trouble she has is Diablo because of his spell armor and his ability to dive the backline. And but you can play around it a little bit with your draft and your playstyle. But the biggest thing is going Wave of Force at level 10. And why go Wave of Force instead of Disintegrate? Disintegrates more damage and it hits more people. Wave of Force gives you the damage instantly. In that same instant you cast it, you're getting the damage. And Disintegrate takes 2 seconds or something, whatever long it takes to put out the damage is sometimes too long and they're escaping by the time you're getting your resets off. So yeah.
So again, I think this should be the mandatory build now. I mean, I don't know about lower levels, but I think this is the mandatory build if you're going to play Li Ming now. And actually, we were wrong, actually. So we apologize. We actually got it wrong. At least I got it wrong. This is actually a really good build. And actually, obviously, if you're good at stutter stepping, then you're gonna be pretty good with this build. So again, it's Force Armor at 1, Charge Blast, then Calamity, Wave of Force, Cannoneer, Fireflies, and then Tal Rasha's Elements. So again, thank you, Nurok, for taking the time out of your day to send me the replay as well as tweeting at us. And yeah, and again, Nurok is the
badass. I'm glad that I found this build.
Yeah. So again, for those of you who don't know, Nurok, as of right now, as of Thursday night, he is a member of Team Liquid, and I wish him the best. Hopefully, we'll do more. If he has any other builds, feel free to let me know. Fringe Average, no, and then we'll figure. We'll do another segment.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a patch came out last week, a couple of days before BlizzCon, and it was the balance patch. So we're just going to talk about a couple of characters, but we're just going to talk about. We're not going to read the patch notes. We're just going to talk about what we think of how good how good or bad did they get from the patch. So Karazim, they basically made it as level 1 that now he has move speed at the 3rd punch. So what do you think about this change to Karazim Old Backpack?
So Karazim was probably he was the standout hero for me in HGC, and so they made him better. So it's all upside for Karazim. He's really, really good now.
Is he good enough? So he's a double support, right?
Yeah. He's there Karazim was the merge and counter of HGC.
Yeah, don't expect to use him that way, by the way.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean by
he
that?
He was in a highly focused team where he would
MVP Black was using him as a burst assassin who closes out tanks.
He was definitely part of the dive comp for a lot of people, and really, helping them really focus all their damage on all-inning people. So he can serve that role, but just make sure you have a team of 5 Koreans.
Yep.
We have 1. It's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough.
And I don't play Karazim, so.
He's a support.
He is, but he knows that if he goes in, we're not going to follow him because we're not Korean enough.
Yeah. My number one problem with playing with you guys play like pussies, so.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm calling you guys out.
It's challenging our manhood.
I know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, Tower Baron is a gold level player, right? So
That's right, son.
Yeah.
This must have been because of all of his aggression that he was putting out.
I think actually Old Backpack's pretty. I mean, Scott's the most aggressive player on the squad. We can all agree on that, right?
Scott is crazy.
He is overly aggressive.
Scott, however, Scott calls the play after he has already executed it, so that is often a problem for us.
Yeah. All right. So
he'll go in and he'll hog all the heals pretty much. He's the heel hog.
And then after the heals have been deployed and he has been killed, he will ask why we were not there during the fight.
Oh, he's got the perfect explanation for what to do after it's already happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's the master of hindsight. Yeah, Mr. Hindsight.
Okay, so if you watched BlizzCon, you noticed that there was a shit ton of Murden, and that's because he actually had 2-second stun on his dwarf toss. They removed that in the patch, and now it provides like a slow, almost a slow for
slow.
Yeah,
for 0.75.
So I guess he was OP before this change, and now is he back to being like an average tank now?
No,
he's back to being good.
You can blow your own defensives now to counter the dwarf toss. I mean, that's a good change, but I still think he'll be good.
Well, I think on HEC we saw that when Murden tried to dwarf toss in against ETC, he would just W him away. I saw that on that Team Expert versus so they couldn't even initiate. That was kind of insane. The timing on that was crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So Zul'jin, what are you guys' thoughts on Zul'jin now? Like, is he basically at the spot now? Because like basically he was basically out of the meta. Is he kind of like now where like he's like in Cassia part of the meta now, where like he fits in like in maybe 10% of team comps?
I feel like Zul'jin is kind of like Nazebo, and that he stats his damage so slowly that he's not good in the early game. But late game he becomes a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be patient with him a little bit. You have to make sure that you're farming hits for you want to axe. He has some abilities that can give him a little more early game damage boosts, but if you do that, you're kind of... I mean, really, your point of him is to farm really super hard and then get huge. So... And why do that? Why play early game Zul'jin? If you're doing that, you know you're going to have a longer game, and you're going to chop down people like you're a fucking dual-wielding lumberjack. So
he's like a ranged version of Butcher, where you want that quest completed and stacked up before you're really effective. But the thing with Zul'jin is he's ranged. He doesn't have to commit to team fights as bad as Butcher does. So he's very effective once he starts stacking his double axe shit. Really strong.
Which is why I can play him, and I can't play Butcher worth a damn.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Zagara, they increased the cooldown on the Nidus network. I think that's good. Now you get to be a little bit more strategic with where you place it. That's fine.
100 seconds compared to 60. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, but I still think you can
significantly less annoying.
Yeah, I think it's a good change. I think my suspicion is that they reduced it to like 90, maybe like in a month or two. But I think it was a good change overall.
Well, you still start with 2 when you pick the heroic in the first place. So.
Yeah. Okay. So old backpack. Do you have any thoughts on Asmodean?
I like it. His split push was really, really good. Now it's less good. Like, that's just good for the game because you can really carry low-level games pretty easily with just General of Hell. Now that's much less easy to do. So it's good for the game. I don't like it because I lose more, but good for the game.
Okay. And lastly, they overpowered Junkrat, so now he's actually viable. I don't know why they overpowered him, but he's overpowered now.
Is he overpowered?
I saw games with Rich where he's like #1 on everything. Number one siege, #1 hero, least amount of deaths, #1 experience soaked. It's kind of nuts.
Is it just because they upped his damage and health, or what do you think? That's it. That was the only thing holding him back.
If you're smart with your grenades, you can displace enemy heroes really well, like Garrosh can.
Yeah.
And then I've seen both ultimates used, but Rich has been liking the Tire ultimate as like a follow-up.
Really?
Yeah, as a finishing blow kind of.
The chase down one.
And he's just constantly just running around all the maps, poking at everybody, just getting him low.
Yeah,
and
the thing is, I thought
he's also using Junkrat as a solo laner, which I find kind of hard to do.
Well, yeah, I always thought he was not very proactive. Like, he's kind of more of a, like, he'll kind of like mess with you. He won't really engage or anything. He just like pokes, like you said. So I never really found him to be that strong in terms of like team fighting.
I can see using him as a solo laner though. Like,
I've seen Rich
if you stand on your charge and then you use your AOE to clear.
Yeah.
So you always have an escape.
I've seen Rich 1v1 Malthael and Sonya's and outright destroy him.
Yeah. So I think what's going to happen is that he'll get nerfed in about 3 to 4 weeks, and then he'll get like the murky treatment where like you don't see him anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be happy to see that too as well.
David, or Byron, I know Junkrat's a trolley character. Have you gravitated towards him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look who you're asking. Yeah. No, I enjoy him quite a lot.
Are you like throwing people over walls and shit?
Yeah, you can blast people with him. The bouncing of grenades to reach people who believe they are safe is extremely satisfying.
So David, is he the Louis C.K. of the HOTS? of the
Because
Nexus?
he's just bouncing his balls all around, whether you like it or not. Doesn't ask permission before he just bounces balls all up your face. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
Boom.
He gets, he plays with his gun until there's an explosion.
See, that's what you call a callback in show business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a private party in Louis C.K.'s room. Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to talk about the HEC at BlizzCon. But before we do that, I want to talk about.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Wait, are you going to ask me a question about Louis C.K.?
Or Kevin Spacey.
No.
Can you hear that?
Harvey Weinstein, perhaps?
No.
We don't hear this.
I don't hear it.
Maybe they do. I hear something in the background.
I mean, both my hands are visible, so it's not me.
Never
You're
mind.
here.
Yep, not me.
All right. Maybe they heard it.
All right.
No Louis C.K.
All right. So.
Oh, okay, I hear that.
I heard that.
All right, sorry. I just had to.
There
Thank
go.
you. I appreciate that.
There you go.
Okay.
That's good stuff right there.
So we're gonna transition to the HEC, but first of all, the Troll and HEC podcast had a really good episode 20 where they talked to Trent Esports about the mechanics of actually owning a team as well as being a pro player, like what like the back end looks like in terms of like like the money and lifestyle that's accompanied or like the decisions you have to make to be in the HEC. So it's actually pretty cool, actually. So I listened to that on the way home from BlizzCon, and it's actually really cool. So again, it's episode 20 of the Troll and HEC podcast. All right, so we were all at BlizzCon, and we all saw the HEC. And one quick note I wanted to ask Bacon is that a lot of Lucio players in double support comps were going up the frequency at level 16 on Lucio. Do you have any idea why they would do that?
Up the frequency is the auto attack reduction of amp it up, right?
CDR for that, amp it up.
Yeah, the cooldown, yeah. And there is some math, and if you're able to auto attack properly, the entire time during a team fight, you get more healing done. And it is actually more beneficial to more squishy teammates that you're able to get that off, because Rejuvenancia is percentage based and it's going to have that full 15-16 second cooldown. But if you're able to do more lower effect amp it ups, but every 5 to 8 seconds depending on your auto attacks, it actually ends up more healing for your squishy backline. And Rejuvenancia is usually the default pick because of double tank meta that's really popular right now, and it pairs really well with level 20, the bonus track. But the biggest thing is that not many pro games go to level 20, so the level 16 to 19 game is really important. And if you can keep your squishy backline alive during those 3 levels using up the frequency, why not?
It's also more mobility, because this way if you use amp it up for the movement, you can also CDR that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess so this is something for Tower Baron and Old Backpack. So we all got to meet Bad Benny.
We did.
There it is. There you go.
Who?
And my signs, actually, there's a second sign that I have in the other room.
You didn't bring this?
I have it. It's in the other room. I don't have it next to me like you got, but
I have it paired.
The sign we had, that's like the second sign we made. The first sign we made actually was up on the stream, like when they were interviewing Bad Benny. Bad Benny's the guy from Tank Player from Team Expert, and so we got him
really nice guy.
Really actually showed it.
So Old Backpack, how did we meet Bad Benny?
I yelled, "Hey, Bad Benny, sign my poster." Then he came down before his match versus MVP Black and talked to us and shook our hands and signed our posters. It was really cool.
He? Did he smell nice?
He smelled very nice. He was very, very, very polite.
His
Right,
hands
he's
are
pretty
very
tall,
soft.
too. He's like
Yeah,
6'3"
he has
or
soft
something.
hands.
Rich's hands is also very soft. It's like baby hands. He's
So again, I've been an expert fan for the entire season,
here it comes.
and I've been saying that Bad Bunny is really good, and I think without a question now, I think he's the second best tank in Europe, and old Backpack and Tyre Baron got to see that firsthand up in front row.
I think
he was really good.
Nick outplayed the whole team, in my opinion.
Yeah. So old Backpack, what were you saying?
No, I was gonna say that like if you watch the game versus Dignitas, on Towers of Doom, where Bad Bunny is surrounded by like 5 people for 20 seconds as Varian, it's really impressive to watch him just kind of carry that team fight.
So you're saying if you're Tattle Spike, that you should watch that game of any other game to watch, Game 2 between Dignitas and Expert at BlizzCon.
Yes, that was the quarterfinals match on Towers of Doom.
All right. So, also, yeah, to piggyback on what Tyre Baron said, I think without a shadow of a doubt now that Nick, the ranged carry for Expert, is leaps and bounds better than Snitch of Dignitas.
Yeah.
And I think it's not even close. I think Kirsten is better as a support than Bakery. Bakery played like shit in that 2-game matchup. So I think it's actually possible that I never would have said this a year ago, but I think it could be possible that ADRD is the worst player on that team. And that's actually saying a lot. But
who's that guy? Atherion?
Either way,
No,
I think
he wasn't that impactful.
well, he's the soul laner. I mean, his job is not to die, and so pretty
yeah.
much. But anyway, it was really cool meeting them. There's a picture of Bad Benny shaking my hand in the Discord if you want to see it. Mm-hmm. And also, Bacon got to meet Rich because of me.
Because of you.
Because of you?
Because of you. You spoke Korean to him and carried him over, or what?
Because I was watching.
Yeah. That is true. He told
Bacon
me
was drunk,
where
so
Rich
he
was.
Yeah, so because everyone left after the Expert Dignitas. No, after the first round between Expert and MVP, I stayed and watched the games, like the Fnatic and Ballistics. And I was just standing around, and I just saw like these 3 Korean guys with like MVP black jackets. I was like, who the fuck are these guys? And I saw one guy one guy had what do you use when you have a broken leg? Crutch. He had a crutch.
Crutch, yeah.
He had a crutch. And I was like, that's whoever from MVP Black. That's them. And then I saw to the side that was Rich in the aisle. So I texted Tyre Baron, who never came, by the way, but I texted both Tyre Baron and Bacon. I'm right next to Rich, and then Bacon came out like 2 minutes later, and then like, where is he? And I'm like, he's right there, and then he took a picture of him.
I feel like there's a Louis C.K. joke in there somewhere because you texted him and he never came.
I'm trying to find the picture.
Yeah.
There's definitely a Louis C.K. joke in there too.
Oh yeah. But either way, so Bacon got to meet his idol in real life, and he took a very awkward picture with Rich.
Oh, he was not. It was like an hour before his finals match. He was not having any of it.
Oh yeah, I told him not to do it. I told him to wait till the game's over before he did. But he was like,
opportunity presented itself.
I don't give a shit. I'm selfish.
Yeah, but either way. But anyway, he met Rich.
No one was going to beat MVP Black that day.
Yeah.
And
they played so
I am
flawlessly.
quoting Fringe Average when I say that.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I did say that.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think happened with MVP Black and Team Expert? Because something happened between the matches. Team Expert didn't look good, or
well, they got outdrafted in the first game pretty hard, and I just think that they're just more well coordinated. You know.
Pretty much. If you watch, like there's one map on a BOE where ETC is trying to zone on the enemy Immortal, and he gets blown up by a Li Ming clone and Li Ming in about a half second, like behind a wall. So he got blown up. Any sort of visibility of who's attacking him, Like that was just ridiculous coordination on MVP. I mean, they brought ETC down from full to zero in literally a half second. Like that, you can't really counterplay that. That's just MVP being really, really good.
Yep. And I will say is that NA is better than I thought.
Wow.
Please,
I
He
never
said
thought
it.
that.
Holy shit. He said it.
But I still maintain my original. If you ever go back and listen to it, I've always said that Roll20, we have no idea how good they are, and we still don't because now they're a different team now.
I mean, Tempest, what do you want?
No. I said that. No,
Well,
I've always said that Roll20. I have no idea how good they are. But now we know. I know how good that team was now, but the NA teams
Well,
I
would
still
you
don't
say
think
they were pretty good?
what.
Say
That team is a top 8 team. That's what I'll say. If that's pretty
In the
good, then that's
world?
pretty good
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
in the
That's
world.
better. That's a lot better than what you were saying a couple months ago. So I'll take
Oh
it.
well.
Yeah, you were saying
well,
that that they couldn't hold a candle to anyone in
Well,
Europe
let me finish. So
or Korea.
I've always said that the other teams, Freedom and Tempo, that if they were in Europe, and I still maintain this, if they were in Europe, they would be a Crucible team. So if you just put those two teams, replay the year, put those two teams in Europe, and they're both in the Crucible this year. So even with all their gains that we saw at BlizzCon, I still think they're Crucible teams in Europe.
Even with
And
the increased quality of practice they would be getting for 6 months.
Yes. I mean, just
let's be fair. Europe is the best region, and it's only gonna grow more quickly because of the quality of practice.
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My view is from. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, it's hard to analyze. If their motivation would increase or not. I have no idea. All I know is that they would still be Crucible teams. Because Zealots would beat the shit out of them. Playing Ducks would beat the shit out of both those teams. And maybe Liquid would maybe struggle against Freedom, but that's about it.
But
So.
look at. I know we had this conversation last time, but if we look at NA teams 6 months ago and then look at NA teams now, like a huge,
Yeah, huge improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's
And-
ironic is that all the teams, according to Reddit, they all got blown up today, or they will get blown up next week, which is kind of funny because
Yeah, those are
you
the
guys start
NA
off
leaks. We also nothing about the EU leaks have happened, right? No EU
Liquid,
leaks yet?
Darkmock, and Blumby are out of Team Liquid. That's all we got.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's too soon to say anything solid about any of the other regions because it's until Monday. But yeah, it seems like every region is going to go through huge changes. And I still
Also,
believe EU is probably all around the best region on average. I mean, Korea has the best team and they got the world champion, but outside of L5 and MVP Black, there's no one fucking else. And now Tempest is disbanded.
yeah, I think if you take away the top two teams in Korea, I think NA is better than Korea. We'll put it that way.
You know what? I might agree with you on that.
There,
Oh.
see, there you go. There,
There's some
common
bullshit
ground.
in Korea. Outside of like
Damn, look at this
10
guy.
smart motherfuckers, like what else is going on in Korea?
Nothing.
So
So, but anyway, all right. So there you go. Congratulations to NA, MVP Black, and Team Expert, and Fnatic. You choked. All right, let's move on.
Before we go,
Wow.
before we go,
I don't
Flaring on the judgment.
I don't think it was a choke. If you looked at how they played throughout the weekend, it was not a choke. They played similar to what they played throughout
Well-
the rest of the tournament. I think.
Well, Shwimpy was whining about it a little
What?
bit about like, oh, we had infighting and that caused us to not play so well, and
yeah, that's
you
bullshit.
lost. Yeah,
Whatever.
you lost, dude. Accept it. Move on.
Yeah.
Take the lose.
Take the
lose.
lose, Shwimpy.
you heard it here first. Take the lose.
Just deal
All right,
with it.
Is this where Shrimpy or Breeze overstepped and he got killed and end of the game for the team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, Also, another thing is that if you are a ranged assassin, I mean, I still think that Shrimp is the best in Europe, but Nick,
It's really good.
he's really good. Like he's like basically he's the carry for sure on that team. I mean, Bad Benny sets it all up, but Nick's the one who actually confirms all the kills and stuff like that. So, I couldn't recommend even more highly than watching Bad Benny tank and Nick playing ranged assassin or ranged carry assassins. All right, so Caldor released a long blog about like how roster apocalypse is a good thing. So we'll link to that in the show notes. Okay, so I guess all right, so Tower Baron, what were your overall thoughts on BlizzCon? Because this was actually all of our first besides Byron.
Well, I think it's even
to every BlizzCon apparently.
I've
that
been to
true?
everyone except for the first one.
Jeez.
So you've been going for like 9 straight years, or 10 straight years, or whatever.
No, because they took a couple years off.
BlizzCon took a couple years off. You mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Really?
I think there were 2 years where there was no BlizzCon.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because all the money from StarCraft went to Twitch. Oh, boom.
I don't get it. Okay.
All right, I don't really get that, but
That's another story in itself.
yeah, BlizzCon was pretty awesome. I mean, it was actually to me kind of a short event because I'm used to other comic conventions, which are like 4.5 days. So just having 2 days, I guess 2.5, if you count the night we had at Con of the Storm. It seemed kind of short, but then it didn't seem like I was there that long. There's definitely a different vibe at BlizzCon. It's very like most of the people there are going to be around the age range of 22 to around 45, right? So it was pretty cool. Not having like strollers around. The matches were awesome. I mean, you guys watch more pro play than I do, so it was kind of a big shock to see like these crazy combos and stuff come out. I think Fnatic and MVP Black were just way ahead of everyone else. Like there was a huge gap in skill.
You've watched almost zero pro play leading up to this, right?
I watched a few games, not as much.
Like less
maybe
than 10?
like yeah, less than 10.
Less than 5?
Probably around 5.
Nice.
Probably around 5.
So, it probably was like a big wake up for you in terms of what's possible in the next level.
You know what? Actually, I got really psyched to try out some of the combos they had, especially with Fnatic. They had really cool single target isolation with Medivh stitches. And then
Kidnap combo.
Yeah. Well, I think Byron called it, or we called it the Kevin Spacey combo. Stitches would hook, gorge someone, and then go through the portal back to his home.
Go through the portal back into Kevin Spacey's bedroom.
Oh.
And then also the Anubarak Falstad combination. I thought was pretty cool. The cocoon and then gust away before the cocoon suspends. And then also the reactions to like someone, I think MVP Black pre-cleanse the cocoon when he was traveling in midair. That was crazy.
That was Zarya. That was a soft cleanse. Different.
Yeah. It might have, well, the timing on that was just perfect. And even in that last game we just saw with the Tomb of the Spider Queen, they were dodging hooks really well in the second half of that game. Like there was one, I think near the end, where Chromie should have got hooked, and then she stasised like a quarter second right before the hook landed. And that was pretty crazy there too, because I think if that did land, that might have been a completely different game. Mm-hmm. It all came down to that, that one split second.
And their ability, like even if like towards the end of the game, like every time Stitches got the kidnap combo off, the reaction from MVP Black was just dive on the Stitches and try to like free him.
Yeah, they're trying to slow him so he doesn't get to the portal, like doing everything
slowing
they can.
sands.
There were a few times where they actually managed to save the kidnapped. Yeah. It was amazing. Like I've never seen anyone just so like immediately commit, just like we are not going to allow this to happen. Like the fucking FBI finding a kidnap victim and just bringing him back.
Back
Well,
when Kevin's
the
face
the
is
only
home.
reason like the first couple were successful is because the walls were alive. But every time they got it off after the walls were
They needed the
down,
assist of a gate or something. Otherwise, MVP Black just went for it, and it worked. It was amazing that they were able to do that. Like the reactions are just instant, and it was that they really showed why they deserved to win that championship that day. It was crazy.
So, Obapek, this is your first. What'd you think?
It was really, really impressive. Like the amount of energy in that room is so contagious. You can't really describe what it feels like to be just surrounded by, say like 5,000 like-minded, super excited HOTS players. Because being in the Middle East, no one plays HOTS. There's no one there to talk about HOTS with. Like, it was a very, really, I don't know. It was a really, honestly, just powerful feeling. Of
It was very
surrounded by-
welcoming. Very welcoming.
Yeah, very welcoming. Yeah,
Unifying.
and being surrounded by. Yes.
Did
It
you
was
find it
packed.
ironic that when Roll20 was being Tempest, they were shouting USA, even though two of the members of the team are Canadian?
So that's
Look,
a
it
joke
could
we
be-
have here in the Middle East of that anyone who if you just say USA in a bar in America, everyone will chant it just because they're dumb idiots. And it's true. We love chanting USA, USA.
that's American sports culture. We'll start it.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I will chant it just because I do actually legitimately like living in America, and I'm happy to share with everyone else how awesome America is.
Well, that's because you got your privilege.
Yep. That white,
Oh,
white
God.
privilege of yours.
Hey, you guys have half a white privilege, right?
So,
It's like your
Byron.
privilege.
So, Byron, this was your, I don't know, seventh. I'll just make up a number.
I don't know how it is, but
What are your thoughts on BlizzCon now? Like in 2017 versus 2009? Like, what are your thoughts?
well, it's grown a lot. I mean, the original BlizzCon I think only had 3 of like the giant bays that are there, and now they've added an arena on both sides and the main stage and all kinds of stuff. It's huge, and it's a really big deal now. And the price has also gone up commensurate with the level of fanfare. Certainly, I think the first BlizzCon was $100, but it's worth the money. And in spite of how annoyed I am by the fact that it is the only major convention that runs on Friday and Saturday and not on the actual weekend. It is definitely also my favorite convention. I have more good BlizzCon memories than I do all of my other con memories. So
I actually prefer that because on Sunday, you can go home anytime you want.
Same here. It's like your recovery day because most people aren't from Anaheim. They're traveling to get there. So, I mean, how long was that flight? Like 5 hours? 7 hours or something?
Yeah, but it was a wasted day. I was on, we left at whatever time we did in the morning and then got to the airport. And then I was like, I stepped inside my home at like 9:30 p.m. So it was like a 12-hour ordeal because of the time zones.
Mm-hmm. But so, Bacon, it was your first BlizzCon. What are your thoughts on BlizzCon?
Honestly, it was like a dream come true because I've been like a Blizzard game player. Like every game I've played that I cared about besides Halo was a Blizzard property ever since I was in middle school. Starting with StarCraft Brood War in the mid 2000s, going into World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, back to World of Warcraft, now Heroes, back to World of Warcraft, so it was a decade in the making, or decade plus in the making, for me to sit at home on the stream, hyped, refreshing pages, in years before, seeing little bits of news that are coming out, and sniping streams illegally with the virtual ticket, trying to get the bits of info and actually being there. It was everything I dreamt of in terms of that event, and I definitely want to go back and meet all the guys because we went to all the panels and stuff, but I think we can just skip the panels, rewatch it, but it's more about meeting and hanging out with all the people that you've met over the past couple of years playing these games. Like Grizzly, we never would have had a chance to hang out with him without BlizzCon, and I met you guys for the first time. I've known you guys for the better part of a year and a half, but it was because of BlizzCon I met you guys face to face. Yeah, so it was amazing, dream come true.
Yeah, the virtual ticket, it's great if you can't make it, but the virtual ticket does not do it justice. If you can, go to a BlizzCon. Definitely do it.
It's completely different. Like old Back was saying, the energy is different than you just watching on your computer with your feet up on the desk. It's different.
You could be standing in a line and you could talk to three random people in front of you and three random people behind you, and they all know the same nerdy ass facts that you know, and you can strike up a conversation with almost anybody.
And just in terms of like convention quality of life, there's going to be great food trucks. They're all going to have Blizzard themed food at them, and everyone gets into it. Even like the concessions, there's Blizzard themed beers, and there's like a little beer garden in the middle of the conventions. You can always find yourself a beer. You can go to a StarCraft themed bar. There's the Dark Moon Fair upstairs, which I didn't even have a chance to set foot in this year because I had so many people I wanted to talk to. But it's got like all of like the little touches. There's the Hearthstone Tavern, which is great, and
Overwatch Arena.
The Overwatch Arena is
that's
freaking
ridiculous.
sweet.
And there was like while the matches were going on, like a 400-person line just to get inside the goddamn thing. They wouldn't even let you close close.
Yeah, no, you have to queue up for that early and then just claim a seat if you really want to get in the main arena.
It's a Coliseum.
Yeah, it's Coliseum style.
Yep. And I really like how they did it in the rounds, that they have the 4 major screens and you can actually sit around the entire periphery of it.
But I do have to say this: Overwatch is not that fun to watch compared to HOTS.
For you.
Well, number one, all the HOTS heroes and what they do. Number
Yeah, but
you don't
the thing
know that
is,
in
like,
Overwatch.
They have the first-person perspective, and then they also have the third-person perspective. And the third-person perspective just looks crazy. You just see characters jumping around, shooting stuff. It looks kind of bizarre. I don't know. Maybe just I'm not used to it.
I saw some of the VODs. It's a lot better than it was. It was a major problem of the watchability because it's so fast-paced and in first person. They're like zipping around with their mouse hand.
Yeah.
So it's but they've like developed a lot of camera tricks and little flybys that they can do. So it's compared to what it was, this BlizzCon or World Cup event, it was very watchable.
Yeah, and actually the I think that the stream in terms of watchability certainly has shown that like people I wasn't tracking it from year, but it seemed like it was getting a lot more attention as an esport this year. They unveiled a lot of features, the team skins that you could actually see like which side made a lot more clear.
Why can't they have that in fucking Heroes, man? I'm so jealous of that.
For every dollar that's spent on Heroes, 100 gets spent on Overwatch, probably.
Well, they have mounts, right? They have the mounts and sprays, I think, that are specific.
No. World Cup represented by 32 different countries, and they all got their own custom UI and skin for that country.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So it was not
and I'm
just
sure they're
red
going to do that for
blue.
Overwatch League too.
It was not just
it's
red
going to
versus
be.
blue.
They're going to make jerseys, I'm sure, for all the characters for the different teams for Overwatch League. Also, I'm sure, and they also they had the map view and all kinds of stuff like that. That I think that is the biggest struggle that FPS has overall in esports. It's a struggle for all of the FPS esports, but Counter-Strike is a little bit ameliorated by the fact that the number of players actually whittles down over the course of the match. So using the first person is a little bit more, it's a little bit easier on them. But overall, like if you have a game like HOTS where the player angle is also the observer angle, you're going to have that advantage in terms of like you can see exactly what's going on as it's seen by the players in game. So.
I mean, Overwatch also has the advantage of watchability in terms of you shoot something, other player goes boom, you win the match. Like it's very simple in that way.
You mean Counter-Strike?
No, Overwatch. The watchability of Overwatch.
Overwatchability.
Yes. We got there.
So, but I was really happy that they had beer nearby, which is great.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought it was going to be like a dry
That is also
BlizzCon.
something that improved over the years of BlizzCon. I did not believe they had beer in the first one. We're going back a long way now. Certainly, I didn't drink it at the time, but I was also pressed in the first few. So
And they
Yeah, I
also
remember,
had,
like,
hard
Friday-
liquors and
Yeah, I remember like Friday, like at 10 or whatever, or 11. Like Scott comes back with beer. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, where'd you get that? He's like, it's right over there.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
right
you
next to
know,
the seating.
like yeah, like 20 feet away. I'm like, oh shit.
yeah. They not only have beers, but the local breweries brew BlizzCon specific beers that you can only get at BlizzCon, and they have like the characters on the bottles and all kinds of stuff. The Blizzard guys actually collect them every year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see those, but that was cool.
Yeah. So
They
I had a
bottle
good. Yeah, I had a good time. It was cool meeting people that you know like for example like the trolls. I never met them before, and it was really cool hanging out with them and telling Liquid in your face when Expert beat Dignitas.
Oh, by the way, if you guys watched the stream, anytime an NA team did well, like got a gank or not died, like the stream would and the crowd would like pop off with so much cheering. But if MVP Black like destroyed another team, complete silence. And you might have heard me a couple times just by
Yeah,
by
you were the only
myself
one
screaming.
kind of cheering for him.
Yeah,
There are like
but
in
Way to
a
root for
crowd
the
of
home
1,000
team,
people,
Bacon.
there were dozens of MVP Black fans, so that was nice. Being the one
yeah, and
there.
also it was actually really cool that because we met Bad Benny like literally like 15 minutes before he was playing like the biggest game of his life.
Yeah.
So like he was setting up his his keyboard and his mouse and shit like that, and we like, hey, Bad Benny, whatever, and then like we turned around because we thought like, are you setting up,
Yeah,
just
he,
leave him
he
alone.
turned away at first, and then he came back.
He was busy, like, and I get it.
Yeah, and I was like, that's really cool. Like like this guy, think about it, he's playing in the conference finals of the NBA or whatever, like. And he takes like 5 minutes to talk to us. That was really cool. I wouldn't do that probably if I was him. I have to worry about the match. Like I've been working all year for this one particular match, and then like I'm gonna ruin or get out of my zone. So that's really cool that he did that.
We should invite him on the show.
Yeah, he was actually on here. Is it Heroes
All
for?
Heroes?
Yeah, no, he was on another one. Like who's the guy like that we had on a couple of weeks ago? The guy with glasses. Who's the guy with glasses? With the beard, the white guy.
Zexorus?
Yeah, his show.
Heroes Power
It-
Hour.
Yeah, he was on their show like a few months ago or so, 6 months ago, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll send out an invite.
He's due for another.
Yeah, but he lives in Sweden, so his time zone thing is
Yeah.
really
It's like
weird.
old backpacks.
Yeah, we can adjust.
Well, we'll see. I'll reach out. Maybe maybe in December, I guess, when things are like dying down. So, but yeah, it was really cool. Got to hang out with them, meet other people. We got to meet, or at least I met Thorn from the Lagging Balls.
Yeah, he was
yeah.
very
Oh, yeah.
welcoming as well.
Yeah, he's very, very loquacious, to say the least. But it was cool meeting him. It was cool meeting like the Trolls. It was cool meeting some of the other podcasters, like the Lords of the Storm guys. I said hi to them briefly. Hanging out with Mosley, who I met at the airport randomly in Portland. Hanging out with Grizzly for the weekend was cool. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
Grizzly's a goddamn ninja. He just outright disappears randomly.
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
says
what
he's,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll just get up and like be gone for like an hour. I'm like, okay, where'd he go? I don't know.
And then he texts me like, "So where are you guys?" I'm like, "Where the fuck
Yeah.
were you?" But don't ask.
Who knows? All right, but anyway, it was a good BlizzCon. Maybe next
one
year.
more
we'll
thing, like
Okay.
one more thing, I maybe you guys can comment on, but there was a lot more girls there than I thought there would be.
Oh, Tower
Really?
Baron sees some
Like,
opportunities.
I thought it was gonna be like 95-5, something like
No.
that.
No,
Blizzard
he's the-
games tend to have more ladies.
yeah, I mean,
All
I
right.
think Byron's been saying this for like 2 years now. That like there's more girls that play than you think.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. It does depend on the type of game. Blizzard, when World of Warcraft came out, acquired a much larger female player base, I believe.
It was almost, I think, 70-30, like 70% guys, 30% girls. But I was
I was-
expecting like 10%.
I was more surprised to see how many women were in line to play HOTS.
Yeah, that's another thing too. They had
That's-
the LAN. They had
Yeah,
the LAN
that-
going on, like what was it, like 20 stations of 10 sets of computers.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a ton of girls playing HOTS.
A lot
That
of
actually makes me
girls play
think-
Diablo as well.
Oh,
Diablo's
okay.
the ones that are more PvE focused, where you can acquire lots of loot and stuff. A lot of girls play Overwatch as well.
So I'm wondering if, like, with the audio communication, I mean, it's like, are most of these people on the call going to be like female? I'm like, oh, I thought this was all guys. Nope.
On the call?
Well, you know,
chat,
the
team chat.
comms. The
Voice
comms.
chat.
Oh, I guess we'll
It's a new
find out.
feature. Like,
A lot
you
of
think-
women won't use voice chat because of the aforementioned problem of assholes on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, but to be fair, if I was a girl, I'd do the same thing. So,
Yeah.
but
Hopefully.
I think
All right.
I think I would abuse and emasculate the trolls personally. But that's my preferred method of dealing with any trolls.
But what if it turns them on? What if it's their thing to be emasculated?
Then you just can compliment them, and their boner will go inside them.
Next level trolling from Byron.
You've got
well
you've
done.
got answers to all the problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, antagonism. It
Yeah, I mean,
solves
all
most of my
troll-based
problems.
problems.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool playing the LAN too. I never played a LAN for HOTS and have everyone kind of like right there. That was pretty cool.
yeah, I was so glad I didn't get sick from those headsets though. I'm like,
That's where we were thinking we were going to get the.
Have you guys
plague.
never done an old school LAN party before?
No, I've done it before, yeah. But this was more, I guess, well laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, back what Fringe said about like didn't get sick. Grizzly was saying he was playing a game where the guy didn't even talk to the comm. He just coughed into it every few minutes.
it's so gross.
He just wouldn't even say it. Just cough on the mouthpiece, and then I'm just thinking, whoever touches that next, like it's gonna be right next to their face. He was like an older guy, but he didn't know how to play. He just coughed into the mic every few minutes.
It's
It was-
why in my bag I had hand sanitizer.
Yeah, Fringe had that too. I was like, we all had
Yeah.
scratchy throats out of Saturday. I don't know if it was partly because of that.
I think it's a combination of
No water.
screaming too and low
Yelling.
water.
Lots of yelling.
Yeah.
Also,
But
when
hey, I was ready. Like, did you guys like my bag? I had like a cell phone battery charger, napkins, extra
Yep.
food, water.
Well,
what else
you
did I
had to
have?
sneak in the food though. You had to sneak it in.
yeah, like old
And
backpack
hand
made-
sanitizer, lotion.
Yeah.
This guy's prepared.
On the first day, old backpack made the mistake of showing the guy his food that he was bringing in. He told the guy, "I need this to live." He's like,
It's
"Throw
like,
it
I'm
out."
allergic to every type of food in there. It's like, I need this. He's like, no, throw it away.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And then
well,
I
next
had to
year-
go back. Well, then I actually try to go back.
It's
because they went to
fine.
my
It sort of
party.
doesn't matter.
It
Me
matters to
almost
me.
dying doesn't matter.
I got you those raisins though. I smuggled in those raisins, and you lived on raisins. for
And
the entire
fries.
time you were there.
You could eat fries.
Yeah, he was like,
that's a potato.
I know old Backpack didn't really want fries, but he was just so hungry.
You know what's funny?
What if
Like,
it's fried in a different kind of oil? Would that affect you?
Yeah, then I die.
And he dies.
what's funny? Like those little thing of fries were like 900 calories. That's
And it was like
crazy.
800. It's like 800. I don't know if
listen,
it,
no.
Fried
It was,
potatoes
it,
are
no, no,
like
Tower Baron.
basically made of poison.
It was 895.
895.
They use marketing. They use marketing on you because in your mind you thought it was 800, but that's
Yeah.
800. Yeah,
Oh, it's a shit ton of calories. 800 for
That's
a
like
little-
that's like without the ketchup, and you're not gonna have the
Yeah.
fries like plain. You have ketchup on that thing, so you're pushing 1,000. And this is just a cup of fries. It's not even. You have like a little tray
It's a
of
small
fries.
cup.
It's a
This
small
is a
cup
hot
of fries.
podcast, you guys. We're doing
It's
hot
like every
sauce.
fry is 200 calories.
Hey,
Yeah, like
if someone's
four
listening to
fries.
this like tomorrow or whatever day in the afternoon, they're gonna get fries now. So we're gonna help them out.
Oh,
They were good
okay.
fries
Yeah,
though.
we're gonna help them out by encouraging them to get fucking things that will help them die younger. Is that like?
Oh, did you see the report where like 1/3 of Americans have either pre-diabetes or like we're on the
Diabetes.
path for diabetes, type 2 diabetes? That's crazy.
Yeah,
One
and
out
I
of-
think it's ironic that the same political movement that brought you fat positivity also wants universal health care.
yeah, I agree with that too. There's some irony into that, and also like 1 out of 2 people in America will have a chronic disease. That's
Ugh.
crazy. Yeah, I know. They say there's a report that in 2040, all of our money, all of our tax money is going to go to pay for people to be healthy, like all of it by 2040. That's crazy.
Japan's already facing this problem.
Yeah.
Number one user of adult diapers in the world.
Yep. No, the
Wow.
American diet. No, again,
care of the-
you guys give
taking
us,
care of the
you guys
elderly.
give us, yeah, you guys
And
give us
how
shit.
that in a
I
couple
think
years,
that
the young workforce won't be able to sustain the growing population.
I have heard this. I think that really what we need to do is figure out why no one wants to have babies anymore.
You know what we need to do is talk about Heroes of the Storm.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree
let's
with
go
Bacon
back.
on
All right.
that. This is the Hots
All right.
podcast.
All right,
not
all
a
right, all right.
baby
Hey,
Philosophically, but what if that's what's causing us to not have babies anymore?
possibly.
No one wants to give up their hots time.
I mean,
You
we're
know
all
what's
single. Say that. We're all single right
Yeah,
here.
a bunch
We're
of
all
nerds
single.
sitting in chairs 8 hours a day, having their balls squished between fat legs. I mean, that's can't be good for your children.
So
Future
Tarbaran,
children.
Tarbaran, are you single?
Yeah, I'm single.
That's it.
You sure?
Look at my left hand. See? No ring.
Oh God! All right,
Oh.
you're like you're doing the blemish now. All right,
I
all
thought
right,
you
let's
were
move
doing
on.
this kind of motion with your left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought when you said "look at my left hand," you were like, I'm single. Look at how much use it's getting.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Loose.
But
You see
Yeah.
the calluses right here.
Yeah, check it out.
Calluses.
Mm-hmm.
all right, but anyway, I wanted to make this like a longer show because we missed last week because of BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to give the listener an extra 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's
of-
the BlizzCon show.
Yeah, it's the BlizzCon show. So
Yeah.
all right,
it was
so our
great.
last, yeah, it was good. The last thing we want to do, we got an email from Grizzly, who was actually at BlizzCon.
Oh, nice.
All right,
He wore
let's
his
go.
shirt too. That's how we found him. He was wearing his Grizzly 64 shirt.
Yeah, at Calm Before the Storm. Actually, like we were walking in, and Tyler Brand's like, "Look, that's Grizzly," and then like I tapped him on the shoulder, and there he was.
Yeah, it's Grizzly.
All right, so this is his email. It's quite lengthy, but I will read this. All right. Okay. I lost my friend and mentor earlier this year to cancer. I watched him die over a 2-month span, and it has really affected me to this day. I've carried a sadness that has caused me to avoid any real human interaction. Recently, the GankBush squad was kind enough to sell me one of their extra bonus BlizzCon tickets. That by itself was incredibly generous when they could have easily profited by selling it at a higher price. Knowing I was going to the event by myself, the GankBush squad invited me to hang out with them. The whole time I was worried about wearing out my welcome, but they never made me feel that way. They went from being some funny dudes who I listened to and played HOTS with to a group of guys I view as friends. I just want to highlight the character of the people behind the dick jokes. They unknowingly pulled me out of a funk just by being themselves. The GankBush squad is solid as fuck. End of email. So thank you for the email, Grizzly.
Yeah.
And I think I speak for all of us that, yeah, we're friends. We're definitely friends now.
Yeah, it was our pleasure
Yeah.
having you, sir.
We are solid as fuck.
There we go with that.
Let's go to Tower Baron.
And that's our show, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
That
Peace
delay.
out.
Oh man.
Yeah, everyone blow ASAP. Now go. Jesus, bro.
Last one was so much better.
That's the outro. That's the outro. We're good.
The miss on this station.